Once again, Mikhail Stalenkov gets the nod in goal.
Well, with the shoulder injury suffered by Guy Hebert, Mikhail Stalenkov given the opportunity to play a string of games, and he was telling me the other day that, boy, does he feel a lot more comfortable in that goal crease. As a result, you see the numbers on Stalenkov. Career-wise, he has not had much success against the Dallas Stars, has a career mark of 1-7. At the other end, Roman Turek. Now, Turek is a guy that is used fairly sparingly by the Dallas Stars, but he's having a fine season in goal. Check out the goals against average, under 2 for the young Czechoslovakian netminder here in Dallas. He was named Dallas's Player of the Month for the month of February, by the way. So I think that's a pretty good reflection of how well Turek has played in the nets for Dallas this season.
Our referee is Lance Roberts. The linesman, Wayne Bonney, number 94, number 57, Jay Shears. Another terrific crowd on hand here at Reunion Arena. It's a sellout as the Ducks and the Stars get set to do battle. Big Travis Green will step in for the opening draw for Anaheim. He'll take on Jamie Langenbrunner. Players in position. Puck is dropped, and we are underway.
Interesting line for Pierre Pagé. He's got 2 centers out there to begin the hockey game, with both Ruchin and Travis Green routinely both playing in the middle of the ice. Split them up. Wants to add a lot of scoring punch. Pagé overloads the big line. Green, Solani, and Ruchin look like they're all going to play together. Well, we've got a moment. Why don't we take a look at our Lexus keys to tonight's hockey game? You know, first and foremost, when you know Dallas has got all kinds of problems with injuries, you know that there are 3 kids called up from the minor leagues who will be back on the blue line. You got to pressure that young, inexperienced defense. Pierre Pagé was telling me this morning that he is really reminding his players to keep the puck on the boards against a strong transition team like the Dallas Stars. Doesn't want a lot of passes through the middle of the ice. And boy, does Anaheim ever need to get that power play on track. We've been saying that for a long time now, but very difficult to win on the road without a potent power play.
Along the near boards, bit of a scrum. Travis Green gets taken down. Ruchin plays ahead to Solani. Matt driving up the middle was Jason Marshall, and Turek got the stick on it. 2-on-2 to the outside. Lettinen tries to throw out front and hopped over the stick of Dan Kesmer, who had pinched in for Dallas, but the whistle was drowned out by the crowd.
Have you got a minute? Let's take a look at the scratches for tonight's hockey game. Look at the Dallas Stars. Modano and Zubov, Ari and Cote. Boy, they had to put names on the same line. They have 10 regulars not in the lineup for tonight's game. Some pretty significant injuries for the Mighty Ducks as well. Correa, Hebert, and Young. Scott Young, of course, had his cornea scratched a couple of games ago against the LA Kings, and he was questionable. He actually participated in the morning skate today, but this afternoon, Mighty Ducks found out that Young was not ready to go.
You know, last year in a conversation with Ken Hitchcock, he referred to himself as a salesman behind the bench. The chance to chat with Ken Hitchcock prior to the game. We're going to bring you his comments about what the sales pitch is all about right now. These Dallas Stars have been decimated by injury. Winless in their last 5. Puck is brought in over the line, and a wrist shot is blocked by David Carper to the backboard. Along the near boards, Reichel will stare to center ice, and back to get it for Dallas is Sean Chambers. Far side feed, Carper with it. He's got Sandstrom ahead of him. Pass too far ahead. Chambers will cut over to get it on the forecheck. Reichel does out a bump in the far corner.
See that play by Warren Reichel? It's what Pierre Pagé wants to see a lot more of in tonight's game. The first forechecker not only applying pressure on the Dallas defender who goes back to pick up the puck, but really finishing the checks. Pagé feels, again, with 3 non-regulars back on the blue line for Dallas tonight, that if you keep the pressure high, that they will make mistakes. It's a big part of the Anaheim game plan for this game tonight.
Pierre Pagé's hockey club trying to snap a season-long 6-game losing streak. During that span, they have been outscored 21-7, but yet they have only been outshot 164-162.
Well, there's obviously a few more finishers in that Dallas lineup, as I mentioned. Jamie Langenbrunner currently has 19 goals on the season. He gets his 20th. He'll be the 5th Dallas player to score 20 or more goals this season. That's a pretty balanced attack.
Hard around, played by Daryl Sador, runs the length of the ice. Cutting back to touch is Pavel Trinkin. Will get a whistle with 1:51 gone in the opening period.
Well, we all know that Dallas has been devastated by injuries and makes Ken Hitchcock's life a lot tougher. Last night in Phoenix, check out the hit on Mike Modano. See, Modano goes down in pain. He immediately grabs his shoulder. Doctors today in Dallas have diagnosed the injury as a third-degree separation. That's the most serious category of a shoulder separation, and there are doubts here in Dallas whether or not Mike Modano will be available to play in the first round of this season's playoffs. What a shame, because Mike Modano was having a phenomenal year here in Dallas. Ken Hitchcock's going to miss him.
And Modano was quick to fault the boards in Phoenix. He said if that hit would have taken place here in Dallas, they would have given way.
You know, as our producer Mark Vittorio said, those boards in Phoenix are very hard. There's not a lot of give to them. And Mike Modano said that a lot of players around the NHL have actually been complaining about the lack of give in the boards in Phoenix.
Player steps up. Marshall rubs out his man, Greg Adams. He also talked about how hard the glass was in a couple of places, too. It's out of the corner. A centering feed gets cut off, and back the other way come the Dallas Stars. At the blue line. Played to the far corner. By the way, Joe, folks were letting you in on a running joke. As the puck is sent out to center ice, and Cullen will send the puck high off the glass and into the far corner. Back to the line it comes. Long shot taken by Bannister. Backhand shot taken by Ruchin. He'll get a second hack at it in behind as he throws right through the crease. Solani had his stick held. Still no penalty call. Out of the corner it comes. Solani gets roughed up. Stars will try to work it off the right wing boards, and back they come. Chris Tansel looking for the man up the middle, and the pass was just behind a familiar name, Peter Durst. Behind the play, Brent Severin going eyeball to eyeball.
Well, Brent Severin jumped in because Teemu Solani was getting roughed up. Love to see Brent Severin doing exactly that. How many times this season have we seen either Paul Kariya or Teemu Solani take a big hit, and there has been little or no response from an Anaheim player on the ice? Severin does his job admirably. Looked like Richard Matvichuk might have got the initial hit on Solani, and Matvichuk, again with Darian Hatcher out of the lineup, will draw the assignment tonight of trying to make life miserable for Teemu Solani. We've got a good shot of it right here. Solani's got the puck. Matvichuk is closing. And he finishes off his check. You see him get the right hand up into the head area of Solani. That's what Brent Severin didn't like very much, and Severin immediately steps in and sends a message. I don't care that Brent Severin just took a minor penalty. It's a great message to send early on in the hockey game that you're not going to put up with any rough stuff against your star players. Now it's up to the penalty killers to bail Brent Severin out. They owe him that.
Stars on the power play. Long shot in on goal. Fat rebound, top of the crease. Karpa hacks to the far corner. Langenbrunner. He tries to drive in on goal. His flight to the net was cut off, and back to the deep slot it comes. Long wrist shot seen all the way by goaltender Mikhail Stalenkov. Quick exchange to Mironov. He'll clear it back through center ice.
Mikhail Stalenkov kind of mishandled that initial shot. Got up in the chest area. You know those shoulder pads that the goalkeepers wear, there's so much protection up in that shoulder and chest area that you don't really feel the puck sometimes when it hits you. And it looked like Stalenkov, a little bit of difficulty there actually feeling the puck after it bounced off his body.
Quick exchange in his own zone. Turek giving way to Dan Kesmer. He'll quarterback out of his own end. He's got a man streaking up the wing. At the blue line of Anaheim, weaving to the outside, Nieuwendyk tries to center out front, and on the doorstep, just missing was Verbeek. Back to the line it comes. Verbeek in the far corner. Bottled up there by Jason Marshall. 50 seconds remaining on the penalty as a centering pass right on the doorstep connects with the captain, Nieuwendyk, and he just missed.
Oh, what a stop that was by Mikhail Stalenkov. Fanned out, took away the lower portion of the net. Robbed Joe Nieuwendyk.
Top of the circle, Nieuwendyk. Quick exchange. Chambers long shot, battle to the eyes. Nieuwendyk tries to center, cut the base of the net. And the Ducks are able to clear past Chambers at the near point.
I tell you, it's been a bit of an adventure for Stalenkov in this game. He's had trouble fielding some long shots from the point, and rebounds that he's left lying around the crease have created all kinds of difficulty.
Tremendous effort by Solani. Stars give way through neutral ice. 15-15 left in a scoreless first period. 10 seconds remain on the Severin power play advantage for Dallas. Along the near board. Dallas again persisting. Guy Carbonneau sends right to the base of the net. Stalankov steers to the far boards, and out of the box comes Severin. Along the far boards. Carbonneau centering pass taken away by Anaheim, and Stalankov gets tied up and neutralized. And now we get a penalty against the Stars. So Ludwig apparently will go, and when we return, power play hockey Anaheim here in Dallas.
Stalankov has been busy early on in this hockey game. Makes his best save of the night. Watch this one. Joe Nieuwendyk has the puck. He's going to circle all the way around to the front of the net. Eventually, Nieuwendyk's going to get it back on the pass out from the corner. It's a bang-bang play. We don't see it right there, but what a stop it was by Mikhail Stalankov early on.
We have a delayed call coming up here. 9 seconds into the Ducks power play, and again, our referee Lance Roberts beating the path to the scorer's table in front of us.
It'll be interesting to hear the call here from Lance Roberts. Teemu Selanne was holding his mouth. Looked like he might have caught a high stick. And again, the guilty culprit is going to be Richard Matevchuk. Remember, it was Matevchuk that Brent Severin went and had a little chat with. And Severin, again, when he got out of the box, went and had a little discussion with Matevchuk. Warned him about going near Teemu Selanne. Apparently, he didn't listen. But this is great news for the Mighty Duck power play. So 5-on-3, and it's very interesting to look at the personnel that Pierre Pagé has on the ice. Jeremy Stevenson comes over the boards. You don't think of Jeremy Stevenson as a power play type player. I guarantee you he will be standing directly in front of Roman Turek. He won't handle the puck. He's just going to be towards the front of the net to try and draw the attention of the Dallas Stars goalkeeper and their defensive unit. This is a big draw for Steve Ruchin. Look for Ruchin to try and pull this one back to Selanne.
So Ludwig was sent off for hooking at 5:10. Now at 5:18, Richard Matevchuk gets the gate for roughing. Falls face-off. They're going to try it again.
Travis Green was trying to jump in there because Steve Ruchin, all he's trying to do in this situation against Guy Carbonneau is just tie Carbonneau up. Let the wingers get in there and take the puck.
Along the near board, Stevenson digs to Selanne. He'll move to the heart of the blue line. Quick exchange, Travis Green. Quick punch pass, way out of the reach of Selanne. Glides the length of the ice. Inside 14.5 minutes to go in the scoreless first period.
It's important that the power play unit is patient when they handle the puck. They've got plenty of time to work with in the 5-on-3 situation.
Anaheim looking for their first power play goal this season against the Dallas Stars. Came into this one 0 for 9 previously. Along the far boards, Ruchin with it. Minute 15 left on the two-man advantage. Making a shot, quick give and go. Ruchin was not anticipating the pass. He's too well covered along the far boards by Sador. Quick exchange into the corner, Jeremy Stevenson. Selanne's wide open at the near point. Ruchin along the far wing to Mironov, and his blast deflects into the far corner. Ruchin with it. Looking for support. Side of the net is Green as the centering pass is gobbled up by the Dallas defense and sent back the other way.
Well, not a great job by the power play unit early on. In fact, they looked nervous handling the puck. That's the general impression I get.
Here's Sandstrom. Down low. He looks to deal out front. And diving to block that pass was Dan Kesmer.
Eventually, someone has got to take a shot here.
At the point, Green to Mironov. 25 seconds left on the two-man advantage. Selanne hounded out of the near corner, weighs his options. He floats a pass. Far side, Green looking back to Selanne. It caught him in the skates, and Selanne will spin off the check. 10 seconds left on the two-man advantage. Along the near boards, Mironov to the wing, Travis Green. He fakes Mironov again in the high slot to Selanne. A one-time shot pushed wide. Here's Green to Selanne. His shot caught the side of the net. First penalty is over. 5-on-4 for just 4 more seconds. And the side of the net feed to Selanne is gloved by Turek in spectacular fashion. So Teemu Selanne and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim come up empty on a big two-man advantage. And Roman Turek comes up big on the tail end.
This is the place to catch the playoff push. Rip City is rumbling as Ryder, Wallace, and Sabonis have the Blazers on the playoff track. But Portland won't like Ike when the Clippers invade the Rose Garden.
Lamont is on fire.
Time to get serious. Sunday at 7, only on Fox Sports West 2.
Face off to the right of goaltender Roman Turek in a scoreless game. Stars with 4 shots on goal. The Ducks with 2. Now Dallas in a 1-man advantage had 4 shots on goal. The Ducks in their 2-man advantage had just 1. Pavel Trinko wins that foot race to the loose puck, and they'll bring it back the other way.
I think this is Pavel Trinka's first shift of the hockey game so far. Of course, with all the power play time afforded to the Mighty Ducks, a defensive player like Trinka just hasn't had the opportunity to get out on the ice. It's got to be tough. 7.5 minutes into a game, you haven't stepped on the ice for a single shift, and all of a sudden you're out there, and then down comes Joe Nieuwendyk bearing down on you.
Pavel Trinka, Ducks 5th-round draft pick, 106th overall back in 1994. Looks on. Pronger will take the draw, flanked by Reichel on his left and Tomas Sandstrom to his right. Nieuwendyk wins cleanly. Dallas onto their own end. Craig Muni's pass deflects onto the tape of Pavel Trinka, and Trinka will weigh his options out of his own zone. Along the near boards, Reichel with it. To the blue line. Sandstrom tried to step around his man, but lost control of the puck and quickly counter-punching back the other way. Along the near boards, Nieuwendyk looking out front, and Jamie Wright just misconnecting on that beat. Wright taken hard into the backboard by Jason Marshall. As along the near boards, quick shot taken by Verbeek to Nieuwendyk to the far point, tipped out front as a good one-on-one confrontation between Wright and Marshall was taking place.
There's a good look at Daryl Sador. We're going to be speaking with Daryl between our second and third periods this evening. What a season he's had for the Dallas Stars. Named to the NHL All-Star team. You go back to when Sador was acquired from the LA Kings, returned for Doug Smolek and Shane Churla. You'd have to say that that deal has worked out pretty well for the Dallas Stars. I quite frankly don't think anyone in the Dallas organization expected Sador to be as productive offensively as he has been this season.
The 25-year-old Sador last year was a plus 37 player, 5th best in the NHL. Right now, he is a plus 23, 2nd best on this hockey club. As drifting into the circle, Jamie Langenbrunner gets set to take the faceoff for the Dallas Stars. Pulled back cleanly. Anaheim along the near boards. Ruchin cannot accept the pass. Long shot. Stalenkov battles to the far wing. Green, Solani, and Ruchin up front for Anaheim. Chambers along the backboards, giving way, centering pass, kicked aside at the defense. 3-on-2 developing if Dallas can hurry. Yuri Lettinen trying to float a pass onto the wing, caught his own man, takes back in his wrist shot. Caught Mikhail Stalenkov in the chest.
Boy, Lettinen gets that shot away so quickly. What makes him such a dangerous offensive player for Dallas? Just darts into the holes, and it's just a quick little snap of the wrist, and bang, he puts it on net.
Stars with 6 shots on goal as a slap shot taken from the high slot by Matt Cullen deflects and an offside whistle sounds.
You know, I get the sense when I'm watching Mikhail Stalenkov tonight that he's really battling the puck, but he's getting the job done. And he's made a number of big stops. He's just not handling too many of them cleanly. Here's another one. Quick little shot here by Leighton, and watch this one. Mikhail squeezes the blocker up against the side of his body, and look for a split second again. He was a little bit unsure of where that rebound went. You talk to any goaltending coaches or consultants around the league, and the best piece of advice that they can give to goaltenders in these circumstances is don't even think about technique or anything like that. Do whatever you have to do to stop the puck. It does not have to be pretty to be effective.
Stalenkov, a lifetime mark of 1-7 against the Dallas Stars with a 3.71 goals against average. Huge scrum along the near boards. Referee lost sight of the puck. We get a whistle.
And we go back to Pierre Pagé and what his strategy was for tonight's game. He really drove home the point this morning to his players that they wanted to keep the puck out of the center of the ice. He feels that Dallas is a much quicker team through the neutral zone than are the Anaheim Mighty Ducks right now. So he said, we want to keep the puck on the boards. He says, we've watched a lot of videotape of all of the games involving losses by the Stars, and in virtually every one of those games, teams have done a good job of keeping the puck out on the perimeter for the most part. You take away maybe Dallas's biggest weapon offensively, and that is the transition game. You have to be very disciplined in order to play that style of game for an entire 60 minutes.
Brent Severin back on defense for Anaheim. Ruslan Saleh is playing left wing as the puck is sent on the hard around to center ice, and the Stars try to collect there. Severin intercepts and sends ahead. 10:15 remaining in a scoreless first period. We get a whistle away from the play, and someone's going to go.
Well, this is one of those games that's being called really, really tightly in terms of the obstruction and the interference. I would say this about Lance Roberts. He's been very consistent so far. There's Dan Kesmer. He's one of the defensemen that has been called up from Michigan. Check out the right side of your screen. Little hook there by Kesmer. Just holds up Matt Cullen for a split second. Kesmer trying to buy a little bit of time for his defense partner, but there's no question under the strictest interpretation of the new obstruction rules, Dan Kesmer belongs in the box. And you know, I would imagine, especially for these defensemen that have been called up from the minors, I would imagine that down there that's a call that's not often made in the International Hockey League. Kesmer's not used to the way that officials have been instructed to call that type of a play at the National League level.
Anaheim came into this game 2 for their last 31 on the power play during their 6-game skid. They, of course, already 0 for 2 in this hockey game as the players appear to be a bit confused by this whistle.
You know, it's even stranger about the Mighty Duck power play, and even more disheartening is the fact that they have only scored a power play goal in 24 of the 64 games that they've played this year. And as a result, I mean, it's got to be frustrating. You look at the opponents who are averaging a power play goal in 70 or 80% of their games, and the Ducks are only getting one about every third game. You get a good feeling as to why Anaheim's really struggling at this point. A minor penalty called here against the Dallas Stars. I'm not sure why. Was uncertain about why the whistle was blown in the first place. The linesman bring the puck into the neutral zone.
It's a bench minor. And so for the second time already in this game, the Ducks are going to have better than a minute 50 seconds to work a 2-man advantage.
A bench minor penalty, you got to believe that somebody either jumped off the bench or maybe Greg Adams had something to say from the bench. But some undisciplined play here by the Stars gives the Ducks another great opportunity, 5-on-3.
Cullen will leave it behind for Travis Green. Along the backboards, Green battles away. Solani giving way to Mironov at the near point. He'll weigh his options. Solani, base of the circle, moves it on goal, and a kick save by Turek to the backboard. Cullen gets a rough ride. Stars will use the hard around to their advantage and clear the length of the ice.
And a little bit of a different strategy here for Page. He puts Mironov and Ruslan Saleh back on the points. And obviously, he's telling his players, shoot the puck.
Saleh wants the puck. He's positioned far side. One-time pass. There it comes. His shot. Look out. Caught the defenseman. And a Dallas player is down.
Well, it's Richard Matevchuk. And I'm telling you, every time a Dallas player hits the ice, you can almost sense Ken Hitchcock cringing in behind the Dallas bench. The team has been devastated by injuries. We know that Ruslan Saleh can wire it. See Saleh skating backwards, preparing for the shot. There it is, and boy, it gets up. Looks almost like it caught Matevchuk in the rib cage. He'd spun right around. There it is. He's getting a little bit of a massage from trainer Dave Supranaut.
Well, you know, Matevchuk missed 8 games with an injured ACL injury to his knee. Last night, he re-aggravated that knee injury and wasn't even expected to play here tonight. Face off to the left of Turek. Still scoreless. 1 minute remaining on this two-man advantage for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Along the far boards. Cullen out of traffic. Dragged down from behind, and the Stars are able to muscle the puck back out to neutral ice. Green accepts, glides over the blue line, steps around Carbonneau, tries to lead back to the line, and Mironov waits, still waiting as players jostle into position. Solani in familiar territory, moves inside of the net, shot, what a gliding save by Turk as he robbed Matt Cullen.
Well, it was a great pass by Teemu Solani, but Matt Cullen just tried to dump it into what he thought was a wide open net. He babied it. And that gave Turk the time to get over. We'll have a look at it in a minute.
Along the backboard, Solani with it. Stolen away, and back they come with Jere Lehtinen dealing up the right wing boards. 5 seconds remaining on this two-man advantage. Well, we talked about challenging your players in our open, and what a response Ken Hitchcock has gotten from his defensive core. Twice in this game, they have stopped two-man advantages. Back the other way. Opportunity here for Dallas. A shot and a save by Mikhail Stalenkov. Is streaming in on the wing was Greg Adams.
I don't think Jason Marshall realized that Greg Adams had jumped out of the box. Marshall was coming back a little bit lackadaisically. Puck almost ended up in his net.
Stolen away by the Stars. 3-on-2 if they hurry. Pass sent up the near boards. Jamie Wright will send into the corner, and Pat Verbeek slow in getting there as Stalenkov will deliver up the near wing. Verbeek again. Centering. They score! What a pass out of the corner to Pat Verbeek. A couple of veterans hooking up. And that one smarts.
Boy, oh boy, you talk about a shift in momentum. 2 consecutive 5-on-3s killed off by the Dallas Stars. And then watch this play by Pat Verbeek. Stalenkov rings it around the boards. Pavel Trinka a little bit soft getting to it. And when it's dished back to Verbeek, watch Joe Nieuwendyk. Breaks to the front of the net. It's a perfect pass. David Karpa can't intercept the pass. And Nieuwendyk just buries it between the pads of Stalenkov. Verbeek zips that pass across. No chance whatsoever for Stalenkov. And Joe Nieuwendyk provides his club with a 1-0 lead. Nieuwendyk doesn't miss very often from that area right in front of the goal crease.
Nieuwendyk with his club leading 28th goal of the year. Dallas Stars with a 1-0 advantage as Anaheim will send back in deep. Marshall had failed to cross the red line, so the result here is an icing call. And with that, we'll pause for a moment. Back with more from Dallas.
Individual game tickets for the April 1st matchup against the Phoenix Coyotes. That's a 7:30 start. Well, they're on sale now at the Arrowhead Pond box office. All Southern California Ticketmaster locations, where you can charge by phone by calling 740-2000.
Mighty Ducks back in action Sunday night at the Arrowhead Pond as they close out their home schedule in the month of March. Game time set for 5 o'clock on KCAL Channel 9. Ducks in the Avalanche. Off the draw it comes. Long wrist shot looking for the tip in out front. Just missing. As gliding right below the circles looking for that pass was Jason Botterill. Along the far boards. Dug out and cleared to the near wing by Greg Adams. Stars with time to center ice. Bouncing puck collected inside the zone by Severin. Reichel sends to center ice. And here comes Anaheim. On the wing, Pronger. Just out of his reach. Stolen and cleared by Craig Muni. And along the far boards, back the other way comes Greg Adams.
You know, it's almost shocking, Chris, to consider that Anaheim's had 2 5-on-3 power plays so far in this game. You look at the shots on goal clocks, they've only had 4 shots on goal in the period. What's even more surprising is that Anaheim actually spent a significant amount of time this morning working on the power play, but the execution has not been there in the opening 20 minutes, that's for sure. The passing was just not crisp when they did have the 5-on-3. And how often have we seen it in the past that when you don't execute and take advantage of those kinds of opportunities, that the opposing team comes right down the ice and scores. And what Pierre Pagé is probably worrying most about right now is that Lance Roberts has called an awful lot of penalties already against the Dallas Stars. And the referees have a habit of eventually evening things up in the penalty department. Anaheim is going to have to be very, very disciplined the rest of the way.
Anaheim only has one equal strength. Shot on goal as a wrist shot sails wide of the mark. And along the near boards, Ruchin will send ahead to Travis Green. Solani, far corner. Sized up by Richard Matvichuk. He'll send up the far boards, and a foot race developing here on the wing between Yuri Lehtinen and Dmitry Mironov. Lehtinen trying to step around his man, delivers it behind. Juha Lind looking out front. His pass misses, but a penalty is drawn, and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim are about to be shorthanded.
There's going to be a boarding call against the Mighty Ducks. David Karpa is wandering over to the penalty box right now. Karpa will get the gate for the next couple of minutes, and Dallas will be afforded the power play. See if we can take a look at it. Watch Karpa. He's going to close right there on Yuri Lehtinen. You know, they call it boarding when the hit is delivered at a 90-degree angle to the boards. And Lehtinen was in that area a couple feet away from the boards, which is a very dangerous area because when you get hit, you end up getting hit twice. Once by the player and once by the boards.
Dallas on the power play for the second time of the game. They have outshot the Ducks 10-4. They lead 1-0 on Nieuwendyke's 20 game. Along the near boards, Greg Adams with it. He's got a man out of the corner. Nieuwendyke swipes the feed, and Sador will accept the carry. Adams waits, shoots, battling the puck to the ice again was Mikhail Stalenkov. As along the backboards, Marshall is double teamed off the loose puck. Minute 20 to go on the Dallas power play. Side of the net it comes. Nieuwendyke looking to the far side as Sador snuck in behind Matt Cullen, and the Ducks are able to clear. Dallas Stars were 1 out of 3 last night against the Phoenix Coyotes, breaking a 3-game scoreless streak on the man advantage. In the corner it comes. Along the near boards, Verbeek again. Cool under pressure. Good read to the high slot. Verbeek looking for the give and go. They score! Joe Nieuwendyke in familiar territory.
What a great passing play by the Dallas Stars. Boy, do they ever move that puck around nicely. And one of the reasons they can move it around is because they're not under pressure. It's a tic-tac-toe. Watch this. Verbeek down low, and it's the one-touch pass back to Nieuwendyke. Drew Bannister gets caught following the puck and not tying up the man in front of the net. Great pass out to Nieuwendyke, and he just buries it again. No chance whatsoever for Stalenkov. Anaheim not helping out their goaltender down low in front of the crease area. That's the most critical scoring area, of course.
Nieuwendyke now with 5 goals in his last 4+ games. And there's still 44 minutes to be played in this one. Along the backboards, players collide. Dallas Stars will cycle in down low. Karpa takes the body, but rolling off the bump was Guy Carbonneau. Along the near boards, a 4-man scrum, but out of the pack with the loose puck comes Sean Pronger to center ice. Turek gloves and quickly exchanges up the wing to Chris Tansel. Carbonneau's left wing feed out of the reach of Peter Duras, and Ken Hitchcock wants to make wholesale player changes. Nieuwendyke's second of the game came at 15-19. This one on the power play from Marshall and Verbeek. At the blue line of Anaheim. Poke check to the near boards by Severin. Taken away by Reichel. The Ducks try to break out of their own end with Severin leading the charge. 2-on-2 with Drury. He winds, he shoots, looking for the tip in out front. And Dallas will take away, and quickly back they come 3-on-3. Langenbrunner around the defense, tied up by Severin en route to the puck, and again the Ducks will be shorthanded. Brent Severin can't believe it. Power play hockey when we return.
so many penalties against the Dallas Stars that any marginal type infraction like that, he's going to nail the Ducks for, and that's exactly what happened.
Long shot in on goal. Look out here. Stalaikov is able to recover in time to deny Greg Adams on the backhand. Adams again along the near boards to the deep slot. Accepts the feed at the top of the circle. Drifts even deeper as he floats a pass to Chambers. Steps around the defense. It's batted down by Karpa. Back comes Anaheim. 2-on-1 short-handed. Pronger lost an edge at the blue line of Anaheim, and Steve Ruchin, triple teamed inside the Dallas zone, accepts an offside pass.
Kind of the way it's gone for the Ducks so far in this hockey game. Boy, oh boy. Sean Pronger had possession of the puck. Ruchin was breaking into the open. It would have been a clear-cut 2-on-1 for Anaheim. And Sean Pronger just lost his balance at the blue line. You see how disgusted he is with himself. Here's a look at it. You see the 2-on-1 set up, and then watch this. It almost looked like he stepped on something on the ice. Went down hard. And you want to believe this is a frustrated hockey team right now.
Sean Pronger looks on. Second penalty killing unit on for Anaheim as Matt Cullen will work up front in tandem with Ted Drury. Pavel Trinka back alongside Jason Marshall. Just inside his own zone, Richard Matvechuk will survey with 2 minutes 35 seconds to play in the first period. That has belonged to Joe Nieuwendyk and the Dallas Stars. Along the backboards, Marshall with it. Double teamed off the loose puck. Langenbrunner nonchalantly steps aside, drives in on goal, and what a play by Trinket to just get a shin guard on that.
Well, you got to be concerned when people start walking the pucks out of the corner against your penalty killing unit, and most of the plays aren't made from the perimeter, but right down around the Mighty Duck goal. That sends a pretty strong sign that things are not going the way they should be down low in the defensive zone.
14-4, the shots on goal favoring Dallas as Teemu Solani will hack the puck back inside Dallas territory. Along the near boards, Grant Marshall will send ahead. Mikhail Stalaikov on the exchange to David Karpa, who finds an opening. It's taken back by the Stars with 20 seconds remaining on the Severin penalty. Odd bounce into the far corner. Greg Adams is positioned along the backboard. Right alongside Verbeek. Out it comes Sador. He winds, he shoots, kick save Stalaikov, and he's able to relocate the rebound.
What a great stop there by Mikhail Stalaikov. All kinds of traffic in front. He was able to locate it through traffic. Ensuing scrum, of course, in front of the crease area. Thomas Sandstrom gets all tied up with Pat Verbeek. Not much going on. I don't expect that Roberts is going to dole out any penalties here. Let's take a look at our Rogaine extra strength advantage. We're going to talk about some of the woes that the Dallas Stars have had in the last little while on their power play. They are, however, 1 for 2 tonight, but you see 1 for 20 in their previous 4 games, and a lot of people around Dallas attribute that to the fact that they have been playing without their power play quarterback, Sergei Zubov. Zubov is out with a herniated disc in his neck. It's expected that he will rejoin this club in 7 to 10 days.
Ken Hitchcock pacing in behind the Dallas bench. His club in control, 2-0. With 1:23 remaining here in the opening period. Face off to the left of Stalaikov. Guy Carbonneau pulls quickly back to Chambers, but he wasn't there to anticipate the play, and the Stars are forced back up, and in they come again. Carbonneau along the near board. Tied up there by Dmitry Mironov. Out of the box comes Severin. Here comes Reichel. Drop pass, Ruchin. Brings the puck in deeper. He shoots, and it's snared by goaltender Roman Turek. And he'll just leave it at the far dot for the next faceoff.
Roman Turek is a big guy. 6'4" tall, and he covers an awful lot of net. And if you get in too close on Turek, you run out of room in a hurry in terms of what amount of net is available. The Dallas defense does a good job. Craig Ludwig's without a stick, but he does a good job of forcing Ruchin to the outside. You see Turek, he just maintains his position at the top of the goal crease, waits for Ruchin to run out of real estate. Good save by Turek.
1:02 to go in the opening period. Face off to the left of Turek. Travis Green on the trigger for Anaheim against Guy Carbonneau. Off the draw, played off the backboards. Reichel swipes a pass through traffic to the line. Marshall's shot blocked at the defense. To the deep slot. Trinka's blast is wide. Reichel tries to jam it in on the far side, and Turek uses that 6'4" frame to his advantage.
Good effort by Warren Reichel down low. And this is why those big, tall goaltenders do have an advantage. Turek's caught a little bit out of position, but he just kind of flings himself across the goal line. Look at the white jersey set up in front of the Dallas net. Boy, I love to see that. Almost looked like Warren Reichel was trying to bank it in off of the goaltender, Turek. And I think Turek was a little fortunate here that Reichel wasn't able to accomplish that. Look at that. Just jams it right in, then slides underneath him. And Sean Chambers, the Dallas defenseman, did not know what to do with that puck. Eventually just stuffed it right back under his own goalkeeper. Turek's been sharp in the opening period.
He has faced just 5 Anaheim shots on goal, but he has stopped some tremendous scoring opportunities. The one that stands out in my mind was the Teemu Selanne dish.
He robbed Selanne, no question about that. He also made a great save on Matt Cullen. Matt Cullen looked like he had a slam dunk goal set up off of a Selanne pass, but Turek's been sharp, but I don't think the execution has been there tonight so far for Anaheim. A lot of time left, however.
35 seconds left in this period as the puck is sent into the near corner. Behind it comes Reichel. Along the backboards, Travis Green stripped to the puck, and the Stars are content to volley back out of their zone. And we get a whistle with 24 and 7/10 seconds remaining in this opening period.
There's another good look at Matvichuk. You know, with Darian Hatcher out of the lineup, it's really Matvichuk that Ken Hitchcock is looking to supply that kind of meanness back of the blue line for Dallas. I don't think there's any way he can, you know, do the things that Darian Hatcher does out on the ice. But Matvichuk has really come a long way in his development in the last few seasons. Just 24 years old. First round pick, 8th overall, in fact, in the 91 entry draft. It's taken him a little bit longer to develop. Most scouts will tell you that it does take defensemen a little bit longer to be ready to play in the NHL than say, a forward.
Sent off the far boards. Why is that, Brent?
Well, I think you get to know the players and you get to know their tendencies. And the emphasis in the NHL is on defense, especially in the last few seasons. And so the onus is on the defenseman to prevent scoring opportunities. It was a tough period for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Boy, they had 2 5-on-3 power plays, and yet were only able to generate a total of 5 shots on goal. I don't think Pierre Page is going to be too pleased about that.
Recapping your scoring, Dallas's Joe Nieuwendyk accepted the perfect feed from Pat Verbeek and converted for his club-leading 28th of the year. Jamie Wright also picked up an assist at the 12:32 mark. Less than 3 minutes later on the power play, Nieuwendyk again, his 29th of the year from Marshall and Verbeek at 15-19. And the Dallas Stars go into the locker room with a 2-0 advantage. Factored in 9 straight before being hampered by an abdominal injury. We get set for the face-off to start the second period. Stars with a 2-0 advantage on back-to-back first period goals by Joe Nieuwendyk, and the Ducks will send in deep. Roman Turek on the hard around along the far wing. Out to center ice it comes. Blind feed right onto the tape. And along the near boards, Jamie Wright will try to work it past Marshall into the corner. Pavel Trinket enters the fray. One-time shot taken there by Nieuwendyk as he bids for his 12th career hat trick.
Boy, how does Nieuwendyk continue to get so wide open in the deep slot? It's anticipation more than anything.
Along the near boards it comes. Anaheim is able to work it back in deep. Cullen with Labutillier. And Jeremy Stevenson on for Anaheim. Quickly, they'll make a beeline to the bench. Fresh bodies on for Pierre Page's hockey club. Craig Ludwig will send up the left wing board. Yuha Lin will send it in behind, looking for the feed, and he's wide open on the doorstep as David Carpa was slow to react.
Well, what a shift for Lin. He put a big hit on David Carpa and then outraced him to the front of the goal crease. Almost had a glorious scoring chance.
Carpa hit by Lind along the near board. Pass behind Teemu Selanne, taken away at the Dallas defense, and a quick exchange to Jamie Langenbrunner. Lind on the far wings accepts an offside pass with 1:22 gone here in the second period.
Well, about 20 seconds into this period, Joe Nieuwendyk almost got the natural hat trick. And we talked about how does Joe Nieuwendyk get so wide open. We roll this forward. Watch, stop it right here. Look at this big open area right here in the middle of the ice. And check out where Joe Nieuwendyk is. He's going to circle around. Here's Nieuwendyk at the top of your screen. Roll it forward again. He finds the soft area, surrounded by 4 white jerseys, gets open, gets a great one-timer on the net against Mikhail Stolinkov, forces Stolinkov to make a real nice stop. But it's the anticipation of Nieuwendyk and the read that he gets on the play. And the big reasons why he always seems to be in pretty good scoring territory.
Franco tries to work the puck inside Dallas territory as Ruslan Saleh is bumped off the play at open ice. Duras on the forecheck along the near boards. Sador takes advantage of that. He'll send up the wing. Peter Duras's last NHL shift was played with the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim in the 1995-96 season. Spent last year with the Milwaukee Admirals of the International League. Most recently with the Michigan K-Wings. Back to the blue line it comes. Out of his own end. Bannister deals. Punch to the blue line. Bantam is taken off the play cleanly as the Stars try to muscle it back through neutral ice. At 2-on-3, they're on the short end. Greg Adams trying to accept his own pass off the backboards, was tripped up, no penalty called, as Pavel Trinka will leave him behind, and Drew Bannister will send along the near boards to Teemu Selanne. Here comes Bantam with Drury driving up the middle. He fakes, he shoots, and a stick save by Roman Turek to the far boards.
Hey, Turek has been very impressive to me in that crease. Not a lot of wasted movement back there. Calmly puts the rebounds in the right spots, into the corners, out of harm's way.
Selanne out of traffic. Greeted there by Greg Adams. Weighs his options, looking for Stevenson. Good read on the play, though, by a back-checking Dallas Star forward, and it's played back inside the blue line of Anaheim. Here comes Pavel Trinka. On the wing, Robert Tillian. Stevenson along the backboards. Nieuwendyk on the hard around. Read by Marshall. Back into the right offensive corner. Now along the near boards, the Stars are content to clear diagonally. Foot race to the loose puck. Pavel Trinka and Pat Verbeek. Icing call here, much to the chagrin of a sellout crowd. With that, we'll pause for a moment. Stolinkov trailing by 2.
Rolling with a Ram Tough Magnum motor, get a new Dodge Ram or a new Dakota.
Announcing Dodge Truck Month. 31 days of exceptional deals, like a low $169 a month lease on a hot Dodge Dakota Sport, a well-equipped Ram ST for under $17,700. Even get great deals on the new 4-door Ram Quad Cab or the 4-wheeler of the year, Dodge Durango. So truck on in.
The new Dodge.
I'm a robot. We robots make your cars, diffuse your bombs, clean up your nuclear waste. Now you make us more and more like you. Your work here is done.
Don't miss Robots Rising, Discovery Channel's look at the cutting edge of robot technology. Premiering Sunday at 9 Eastern and Pacific on the Discovery Channel.
Thanks for creating us. Now, get out of the way.
Our next game on Fox Sports West 2 will be next Wednesday, March the 18th at 4:30 as the Ducks begin a 7-game road trip in New Jersey against maybe my favorite player in the National Hockey League, Martin Brodeur. You can tune into KCAL on Sunday at 5 o'clock when Patrick Roy and the rest of the Colorado Avalanche travel to the Arrowhead Pond to take on the Ducks. Remember, of course, that all of the Mighty Ducks games can be heard on AM 1110 KRLA and the rest of the radio network.
Face off to the left of Roman Turek in a 2-0 hockey game. Stars leading. Chris Mattson calling the action alongside Brian Hayward. Steve Ruchin steps into the circle for Anaheim against Juha Lind. Off the backboards it comes. Sean Chambers gives it up in the high slot. Selanne hooks to Ruchin out front, and a good recovery defensively by Chambers. Up the wing, Langenbrunner. Wrist shot. Dropped to the ice as Stalenkov has trouble relocating the rebound. It's behind him, as well as Langenbrunner, and the net has become dislodged.
Well, one of the things that you got to love about Jamie Langenbrunner is he goes to the net, and he goes to the net hard. Let's check out Langenbrunner right here. He's the puck carrier. Now he's going to dish it off. Fire the first shot, but watch where he goes. Immediately makes a beeline to the front of the net. Actually runs in to Jere Lehtinen. Stalenkov again leaves a rebound, fat rebound out in front of the crease. David Karpa having his hands full with Jamie Langenbrunner.
Langenbrunner leads all second-year players in the National Hockey League this year in scoring with 46 points in 63 previous games. Out of the corner it comes. He winds, he shoots, he scores!
He's got a pretty good set of hands, too. Jamie Langenbrunner just drifts a slap shot between the legs of Mikhail Stalenkov. Look at the time that Langenbrunner has right off of the faceoff. Somebody misses a defensive assignment. See, Langenbrunner will spin off a check, and he's wide open at the dot. Look at that. David Karpa and Steve Ruchin, you got the feeling that they were both a little bit unsure about who should challenge Langenbrunner. And look at the time he has. He just winds up, tees it up. Stalenkov's in great position out challenging, but there's a small space in between the pads of the Anaheim goaltender, and Langenbrunner blows that shot right between them.
Langenbrunner's third career goal against the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim gives the Stars a 3-0 lead. 15 minutes and 50 seconds remaining here in the second period. Dallas will send ahead. Stars winless in their last 5. The Ducks have dropped 6 in a row. Drew Bannister steps up over the red line and delivers in deep. 3:49 the time of the goal by Langenbrunner from Lettman. The Stars with a 3-0 cushion. Bottle up their man in neutral ice. Soleil's pass kicked ahead and intercepted by the Stars back inside the zone it comes.
Here Page trying to get something going. Again, we see Ruslan Soleil up on the forward line. Page looking for some hits from Soleil on the forecheck.
Out of the corner it comes. Stars content to clear back the other way. Wash out the icing call. Exchange Stalenkov to Jason Marshall. Ted Drury steps up over the line. Solani shoots and a chest save by Roman Turek. Ted Drury took a hack at the rebound, but Turek was quick to recover.
Well, we've got a moment here. Let's take a look at our Volkswagen hardest driver. We talked moments ago about Ruslan Soleil and what he brings to this team, not only when he's back on the blue line, but when he's up front as well. The one thing that Ruslan Soleil has not got going for him lately, certainly he's got the body checking going for him, but he hasn't been able to bury that puck. He's had some opportunities. The last game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, Ruslan Soleil hit the post for what seems like about the 3rd or 4th consecutive game. So he's a little bit snake bit around the opposing team's net in the last little while. Dealing with all of that frustration.
Richard Matvechuk's outlet pass to Guy Carbonneau. In the corner, Turris with a shot to knock it all of it. Karam straight to the near board. Solani getting support on the wing from Jason Marshall, who cuts out of traffic with a loose puck and back out to center ice. Solani on the near board. Stood up just inside the Dallas Stars blue line, and that's enough to force an offside against Anaheim.
Dallas has done a pretty good job overall against Teemu Solani. You know, it's difficult for Solani to really get going and use his speed through the neutral zone if you can't get him the puck in full flight. And a lot of times Pierre Page will put Dmitry Mironov out on the ice whenever Solani's out there, because Mironov is probably his best passing defenseman. If you want to exploit the talents of Solani, you got to take advantage of that speed through the neutral zone. His biggest problem right now in this game is that nobody seems to be getting him the puck at the right time, and that makes Richard Matvechuk's job a lot easier.
From behind his own net, Severin with it. Drew Bannister on the exchange. sends up the wing. Coincidental contact as the puck leaves the surface. We'll get a stoppage with 14:09 to play here in the second period.
It's a good look at Drew Bannister. He's been spotted in the lineup periodically by Pierre Pagé. Talking to assistant general manager Dave McNabb about Drew. And he said, you know what he likes about Drew Bannister is the capability he has to play a very physical game. And I go back to the very first game that Bannister played in a Mighty Duck uniform, where he stepped up inside the offensive zone and just absolutely decked the opposition's left winger along the boards. I think Anaheim would like to see a little bit more physical play from Drew Bannister. He's got the frame, and he certainly has the ability.
Well, the guy who took that big bump just scored his 20th goal of the year, Jamie Langenbrunner. By the way, Dallas now quickest club in the NHL this season. They have 5 players in the 20-goal column. Next closest to them, the Ducks' next opponent, Colorado with 3. The puck is sent back the other way, and Brent Severin cuts back to get it. Last time the Stars had 5 20-goal scorers in a single season 7 years ago in the 1990-91 campaign. Along the far board, Soleil with it to Travis Green. Steps around his man, deals on the doorstep, and did Warren Reichel take a stiff shoulder to the midsection and was driven down hard by Craig Ludwig.
Boy, there was a war going on in front of Roman Turek involving Warren Reichel and Craig Ludwig. Ludwig, the much bigger man.
Backhand shot taken, blocked at the defense. Into the corner it comes Stevenson. He'll send high off the dasher. Long shift for Brent Severin. He's heading inside his own zone. Behind the net it comes Langenbrunner. To the line, Zador. He winds, he shoots. Blocked out high by Jeremy Stevenson and forced back through center ice. Yuha Lin along the near boards will send ahead. David Garpa clearly had closed his hand on that puck, but he'll quickly send out to center ice. Along the far board, peek over the shoulder for Dmitry Mironov. We get a whistle and a stoppage in play. Icing call against Dallas, and the Stars with a 3-0 advantage in this one.
Beauty, prepare to meet your beast. Excuse me, but if you dial 1-800-COLLECT...
It's 10 cents a minute every evening.
You know about 1-800-COLLECT's super low rates, too?
Of course I do, silly.
Do you believe in destiny? 1-800-COLLECT, 10 cents a minute every evening.
Did you start a business today? What if you did? How can Bank of America help you succeed? Bank of America, put your future in motion.
Get a Wiener Schnitzel chili dog for just 89 cents. Yes, 89 cents.
The Ducks battle the Devils Wednesday at 4:30 on Fox Sports West 2.
Well, one thing you know when you play against the Stars and Craig Ludwig is on the ice, that you're going to pay a price in the crease here. Warren Reichel goes down there looking for a rebound, and Craig Ludwig just lowers the boom at him for a split second. It looked like Reichel had an opportunity, but you can see the pass out of the corner by Travis Green was about a foot off the ice, making it very difficult for Reichel to handle. Ludwig loves to play physical. I guess you would. I mean, if you're that big, wouldn't you like to be that big, be able to run over people? Seems like he's been playing forever.
He's only going to be 37 on Sunday. This is his 16th NHL season. There's a wrist shot taken inside the net, denied by Turek. Top of the crease it comes, dug out by the Stars. On the wing, Jamie Wright. Long wrist shot, sails wide, and Verbeek will play the Karen cleanly. In the left offensive corner, Peter Lebetillier for Anaheim will send out to center ice, and Tomas Sandstrom's pass on the wing connects. Wrist shot taken, blocker save Turek, turnaround shot taken by Sandstrom. Play to the backboards, Cullen. Taken away and cleared back out by Craig Munich. Stars at center ice. Newendijk triple teamed as he tried to enter the zone. Anaheim out of of the pack, led by Dmitry Mironov, will bring it over the line. Tried to split the defense, could not do it. 11:40 to play in the second period. Joe Nieuwendyk with 2 goals in the first period. Jamie Langenbrunner with his 20th of the year from Yuri Lettinen at 3:49 here in the second. You know, there's a terrific personal and professional relationship between Ken Hitchcock, the head coach of the Dallas Stars, and Mighty Ducks assistant coach Don Hay.
Well, we go back a long ways. I think, you know, Donnie came to work with me in 1984 in Kamloops, and we've been best friends since. So we've been together 14 or 15 years. There's a special relationship, my family with his, and especially with the 2 girls. I've watched them grow up, Ash and Ange, and so you know, we are close. We're very competitive in everything, whether it's playing golf or playing or coaching against each other. But I think there's a mutual respect.
Mutual respect indeed. In fact, I think Don Hay stood up at Ken Hitchcock's wedding this past summer.
Yes, he did. You're absolutely right. Ken Hitchcock, who was both the Hockey News and the Sporting News Coach of the Year last season in the National Hockey League. What a run he's had in Dallas.
I tell you, he would have traded all those accolades in for a run in the playoffs last year.
That's not the truth. Shocking upset by the Edmonton Oilers in the opening round of the playoffs, and Dallas, who have had such a tremendous year this year now, hit by the injury bug hard, and still wondering if they're going to get their top sniper Mike Modano back for the first round of the postseason this year.
The subject of the Edmonton Oilers, the only other game in action tonight. They now lead the Florida Panthers 4-0 in the third period. With that victory, the Oilers would have 26 wins, 62 points, same as Phoenix, but they would actually step past the Coyotes on percentage points.
The other thing we should mention about the Edmonton Oilers is what's going on in terms of the ownership group. The local potential buyers group at Edmonton has until 12 o'clock midnight tonight to finalize the $70 million purchase of that team. And if they don't come up with the money by 12 midnight, well, then the Edmonton Oilers will be owned by Houston businessman Les Alexander. The Oilers would be relocating to Houston next year. Now, the buyers group claims that they do have the cash. It's the old story until it's been passed hands. You still have to wonder and be concerned.
Out of the corner it comes. Nieuwendyk driving it on goal. Backhand shot. Saves to link on top of the crease. Taking the whack at the loose puck was Jason Botterill. Botterill in his first NHL game. Along the near boards, paired with the veteran Nieuwendyk. Out of traffic it comes, and Sean Chambers will just lop over top of the dasher and inside the Anaheim bench.
Well, Joe Nieuwendyk, he's gunning for goal number 3. Brings that puck right down to the crease. What I like about Nieuwendyk when he's playing on top of his game is that he just attacks defensemen. He knows that he has such quick hands that he can beat people one-on-one. Look at this. Brings the puck. Drew Bannister actually watches the shot go right through his legs. And then what a nice save by Stalenkov on the rebound. Because Botterill gets a whack at this. Watch this. Nieuwendyk puts it on the net. The rebound's there. Botterill whacks it right out of the air, right into the midsection of Stalenkov. Look at the speed of Nieuwendyk. And believe me, folks, he used to be a lot quicker. He's had a couple of knee operations that have taken away a little bit of the juice in those legs, but still, good to see Joe Nieuwendyk healthy again and playing as well as he had this season.
This is his 12th season. Including this year, 10 times he has scored 20 or more goals. 20 goals 3 times.
Nieuwendyk again.
30 goals 3 times, 40 goals twice, and 50 or more goals 2 times.
Joe Nieuwendyk went to my alma mater, Cornell University in upstate New York, and when he went there, he could have either played hockey, but they really wanted him to play for the field lacrosse team. Nieuwendyk is one of the best lacrosse players ever to come out of Canada. He was a dominant junior lacrosse player. Maybe that's why he's got such a great set of hands on him. I think he picked the right sport. However, a little bit more lucrative.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe a little better.
Yeah, a little bit less punishing on the body, if you can believe it, too, to be a hockey player instead of a box lacrosse player.
Back out to center ice it comes. Follow up Peter Duras. Tries to step around Severett. He does. Base of the circle weighs his option. Tries to center. He gets clothesline down from behind as a man was dumped inside the Anaheim net. Pass ahead out of the reach of Lepetillier. Along the near boards. Guy Carbonneau double teamed off the loose puck. It's sent ahead by Ted Drury. Inside 9.5 minutes to play in the second period. Along with our director, Mark Vittorio, producer Tim Davis, and associate producer Aaron Dietz, as well as graphics coordinator Rick Lee. Chris Matson and Brian Hayward calling the action here tonight at the Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas. Slap shot, Solani. Just getting a piece of that was defenseman Richard Matvechuk. Puck bounds high in the air. Comes to rest behind. Out it comes quickly to center ice Carpenter.
Boy, Matvechuk is just like a shadow for Teemu Solani. Every time Solani gets a hold of that puck, seems like Richard Matvechuk is within 5 feet of him. So far, done a pretty good job on him.
What's the matter, clown boy? You need to make a call, but you don't have the change. Cheer up, Spunky, there's a way. Just use 1-800-COLLECT. It's 10 cents a minute every evening. Saves a bundle of cash, you can talk longer, too. Go ahead, make some calls. That's great. Mine's 1-800-COLLECT, 10 cents a minute every evening.
What do you say to someone who says only old people can afford to drive a Mercedes? I say, come for a ride. Yeah, and it's way under $40,000. This one? Under $40,000 too. Don't tell me. Under 40 also? No, just a hair over 40. Just like me. They're all under 41. Under 41? They're just babies.
We remind you to stop by the National Sports Grill in Anaheim for the Mighty Ducks live after every home game. Join the Mighty Ducks radio broadcast team of Darren Elliott and Brian Hamilton and a different Mighty Ducks player or coach for an up-close recap of the evening's game. Next up, Sunday night, Ducks and the Colorado Avalanche. Face off at center ice. Langenbrunner against Matt Cullen. Talked about Dallas's 20 or more goal scorers. Langenbrunner, Verbeek, Lettinen, Modano, and Neuendorf. Stalenkov will take a whistle.
You know, we're talking about the Colorado Avalanche, who will be in town on Sunday, and you know, they're missing a pretty good player as well. Joe Sakic, who injured that knee over the Nagano Olympics, still remains out of the lineup. And you look around the league, boy, is there ever a lot of star players not playing right now. Lindros in Philadelphia, our own Paul Kariya in Anaheim, Joe Sakic in Colorado, now Mike Modano in Dallas. The elite players in the NHL are taking a beating this season.
But a lot of wear and tear on players, and I gotta believe a lot of it has to do with this compacted schedule. Coming up for the Ducks after that game Sunday night, 7 games in 11 nights.
Well, what's even more frightening about the upcoming road trip is the amount of back-to-back games. I can't ever remember a road trip where you had 3 sets of back-to-back encounters on the same trip. It's almost unheard of.
That trip begins this coming Wednesday night in New Jersey on Fox Sports West 2. Our coverage beginning at 4:30 with the drop of the puck. Following night, it's on to Philadelphia. Then over the weekend, Saturday in Montreal, Sunday in Ottawa. 2 days off, Chicago on Wednesday, Detroit on Thursday, day off, and then an afternoon affair against the Colorado Avalanche. Volleyed back out to center ice. Hugh Holland along the far boards will send ahead. 21 shots on goal for Dallas. 9 for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Stars have outshot Anaheim here in this period by a margin of 7-4. Along the far boards, Tomas Sandstrom will deliver back out to center ice. And the Stars are regrouped at their own blue line. Dallas came into this game having allowed just 129 goals against. Fewest in the Western Conference, second fewest in the NHL behind New Jersey. As a wrist shot by Sandstrom is steered aside by Roman Turek into the corner.
You know, boy, it's good to see Tomas Sandstrom taking the shot when he gets across the opponent's blue line. More and more, especially lately, Sandstrom been really struggling offensively. Seems to be always looking for the pass first as his first option.
Solani to Green. Just out of his reach. Along the near boards, Green takes the body. Rubs his man out cleanly. Good recovery, though, by Pat Verbeek. Sandstrom touched that pass as he made his way to the Anaheim bench. And so with that, a two-line offside pass on the whistle sounds.
Sandstrom made a real good decision as he crossed the Dallas blue line and just swept the low shot towards Roman Turek. You know, a lot of times you're not looking to score in those situations. You're just hoping that the goaltender is going to leave the rebound in a bad spot. That was a great play by Sandstrom. Unfortunately, the rebound was not hanging around for Teemu Solani.
Sandstrom, the only player to appear in all 65 games this season for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. He'll look on as a faceoff is set to take place to the left of his netminder, Mikhail Stalenkov, in a 3-0 hockey game. Stars leading behind a pair of goals by Joe Nieuwendyk in the first period, and Jamie Langenbrunner with his 20th of the year here in the second. We remind you, our guest coming up between periods, Daryl Sador, who is on the ice right now for Dallas. Sador at center ice, collects, steps up over the red line, and throws the puck right back inside Anaheim territory. Out it comes Frank Bannon. Weaving to the outside. In tandem with Ruchin, his backhand shot is easily snared off the side of the net by Roman Turek, and he wants a whistle.
You know, Turek's put up some pretty good numbers in the last little while. I mentioned that he hasn't really played an awful lot as of late, but in his last 9 games, Roman Turek has given up 1 goal against or fewer in 7 of those 9. Dallas Stars ranking amongst the leaders in the goals against category. Still feel like I'm in a time warp when I look at those goals against averages and I see them down below 2 and in the low 2s. The league has got to do something to open up the game a little bit more and increase scoring. I think that's what the paying customers really want to see more of.
No doubt, as the puck is intercepted by Steve Ruchin. 3-on-2 Anaheim. On the wing, Green. Cross-side speed. Bantam shanks a shot towards Roman Turek. Ruchin in behind the net with it. Shovels a pass to the base of the circle. Bantam to Severin. His shot broken up with the defense. Backhand shot. Toe save by Turek on Frank Bantam.
A nice stop there by Turek. Bantam had to go to the backhand, so he didn't have a lot on that shot. No! But he threw it through the screen. Turek made a fine stop.
Out of the corner, Stars testing Mikhail Stalenkov as Peter Durs on the backhand is denied.
Former Mighty Duck Peter Durs with an opportunity to expand Dallas's lead. Anaheim had almost put a puck finally past Roman Turek moments earlier. Watch the play by Bantam. He just wheels, fires a low backhand. He had a lot on that, but the traffic set up in front by Ruchin made it a lot more difficult stop for Roman Turek. And then at the other end, some terrible defensive play by the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. I count 4 white jerseys in the vicinity, only 2 Dallas players, and still Peter Durs gets the shot off and Stalenkov forced to make another stop.
Durs appeared in 31 games with the Ducks back in 95-96. 8 goals, 7 assists, 15 points. To the line it comes. Wrist shot taken, deflected midway. Wide of the mark. Turnaround shot for Beak. They score. Hat trick, Joe Nieuwendyk, the 12th of his career.
Well, a beleaguered Mikhail Stalenkov looks on as this ice gets littered with hats from the stands. And again, not much going on in terms of protection in front of that goal crease. Joe Nieuwendyk just continues to get wide open in tonight's game. So dangerous down low. This is a bit of a fortunate break for the Dallas Stars. Watch this puck. Verbeek just turns and tries to throw it towards the net. It bounces right over the stick of Ted Drury, right onto the tape of Joe Nieuwendyk in all-in-one motion. Nieuwendyk just sweeps it towards the far post. Another perfect shot by Nieuwendyk provides the Dallas Stars with a 4-0 lead. Watch this puck. Right over the stick of Ted Drury. End of the net. Everybody looking around in amazement and tremendous disappointment if you're a Mighty Duck player.
Joe Nieuwendyk with the hat trick, the 12th of his career, second since joining the Stars. His first was back on November the 5th of '97 against the Pittsburgh Penguins at the Igloo.
Yeah, see him.
So Pierre Paget's Hockey Club finds themselves trailing by a score of 4-0, and the hats are still cascading down from the rafters.
And again, we've talked about the fact that Guy Hebert is not in the lineup because of that strained shoulder injury. The backup is Tom Askey, who has spent almost all of this season down with Anaheim's top minor league affiliate, the Cincinnati Mighty Ducks. Askey yet to play a minute of NHL competition. You know, if he does get into a game, Tom Askey would only be the 5th goaltender in Ducks history to make an appearance. I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you go through the list?
I just so happen to have it in front of me. I cannot tell a lie. Guy Hebert, Mikhail Stalenkov, Ron Tugna. Those are the 3 obvious ones. The 4th one may be a little of a mind bender. Mike O'Neill.
Mike O'Neill, and I don't think he got in there for more than a few minutes of a game, but he did indeed get in there. Mikhail Stalenkov, in a frustrating game for Stalenkov. You know, it's funny, you play a game like this, and you look up, and you've given up 4 goals on just 24 shots, and you're obviously frustrated because, you know, you look at save percentages around the league, and you say, you know, maybe give up a goal on every 10 shots on average, but it's the quality of shots that the Dallas Stars are getting. All 3 of Joe Nieuwendyk's goals have come within 10-12 feet of the goal crease. It's the quality shots that the Stars are generating that are beating Stalenkov. And the best that you can do as a goaltender, and I've been in this situation many times, is say to yourself, they're not scoring on me from the blue line. I'm not giving up bad goals. And some nights the puck just finds the holes. That's what's happening to Mike Stalenkov in this game.
Joe Nieuwendyk opened the scoring at 12:32 of the opening period, his 28th of the year. At 15:19, he picked up his 2nd unanswered goal of the opening period. Jamie Langenbrunner made it 3-0 Dallas at 3:49, and now at 13:52, if you're scoring with us at home, Nieuwendyk's 3rd of the game, 12th career hat trick, 30th of the season from Verbeek and Chambers. And the Dallas Stars with a 4-0 lead. 6:05 to play here in the 2nd period. Stalenkov exchanges with Marshall on the heart around. Solani is pinned along the near boards and driven down to the ice. There is yet to be a penalty called here in the 2nd period. Back in the opening period, Stars had 3 power play advantages. Ducks had 4. Keep in mind, a pair of those were 2-man advantages. Ruchin looking, shooting. Turek flashes that right pad out to make the save.
Good decision there by Steve Ruchin to get the shot on the net. Unfortunately for Anaheim, the shot by Ruchin went right into the pads of Roman Turek. And watch this rebound. It's a short rebound. It sits about 2 feet in front of the goaltender. It's not much of a difficult task for him whatsoever, just to reach out with a goal stick and pounce on top of it as he sweeps it back under the big mitt. Ruchin has been playing so well as of late. I was talking to Assistant General Manager Dave McNabb about Ruchin earlier today, and he said, man, oh man, has he been playing well. And the thing that I like about Ruchin, he's been getting the points in the last 15 or 16 games, but more than anything else, you always rely on Steve Ruchin for great plays down low in the defensive zone. He's just a very reliable forward to put out on the ice in almost any situation.
Came into this game with the best plus-minus in franchise history, plus 47. Is along the near board. Guy Carbonneau looks for support, and Richard Mack. The check will provide that by sending back the other way. 24 shots on goal for Dallas, 12 for Anaheim. 5 minutes remaining in the 2nd period. Ruchin ahead to Solani. in the corner. Shoulder-to-shoulder contact. He simply just shrugs off that encounter and gets right back into the flow. Solani unflappable. Here comes Dallas's Newendijk, bidding for another. Chest save by Stalenkov. But with that, we'll pause for a moment. Stars with a commanding lead here in Dallas.
Hi. I'd like you to meet someone. This is Bruce. He looks great, doesn't he? That's because he spent the last 2 weeks driving around in a brand new Ford Windstar. You know, when the government did their crash test, the Windstar was the only minivan to get 5 stars for front passenger protection. What, you don't believe me? Ask Bruce. He's not as dumb as he looks. So what do you think? Should we try the Diamond Lane? If we get stopped, tell him you're from out of town.
My name is Jim, and I am the beer man, and I'm proud to sell this Coors Light. So please do not call me beer dude. Don't yell beer jockey, barley boy, or suds buddy. And I'll be happy to pour you a frost brewed Coors Light. Stay away from Brew Brother, Captain Cup, and Sir Pour-A-Lot, and you'll get your Rocky Mountain refreshment faster than you can say Lager Lugger. I am Beer Man.
Hey, beer stud.
I think that picture pretty much tells the story. You see the frustration etched on the face of Steve Ruchin. You know, I think more than anything, you look at the Dallas Stars tonight, 10 regulars out of the lineup, and Anaheim just hasn't played all that well. And the players are going to hear about that in between periods from Pierre Pagé.
Centering pass on the doorstep again. Duras just missed on the redirect. Carvino in behind the net. Bumped off the play by Carpa. Gets right back into the scrum in the far corner, and Stalenkov will work it free to the near board. Taken cleanly out of the play. On the wing, Cullen. Sador tries to send ahead. Duras with a finishing bump in the near corner. Out of the corner it comes. Shot taken by Cullen. Grazed the base of the net. Cullen again. Weighing his options. Bantam trying to jostle into position. Here comes Stevenson. To Bantam. He scores! Frank Bantam's first in the NHL.
Well, Frank Bantam breaks the goose egg. Great setup from behind the net. You got to give all the credit in the world to Matt Cullen. He controlled that puck down low. Oh, actually, moments earlier, almost looked like he had Roman Turk beaten to the short side. But look at the job by Cullen. Protects the puck, tips it back. Stevenson throws it out front, and Frank Bantam, off balance, just drills it into the open net. Great goal by Bantam. Terrific work down low by both Stevenson and Cullen.
So Frank Bantam, in his 8th NHL game, scores the first goal of his NHL career. It comes at 16:03 of the second period, and the Ducks are back on the board. That is Anaheim's first second period goal this season against the Dallas Stars. Off the near boards. Marshall. Quick exchange to Pavel Trinket. Sean Pronger hooks Pat Verbeek to the ice. And the Stars will regroup out of their own zone. Verbeek and Craig Ludwig both on the ice. Look out here as Jamie Wright has hooked out the play. Are the only 2 players in the Stars lineup to have played in every game thus far this season.
So 2 of the oldest players in the Stars lineup.
Verbeek is 33. As I pointed out earlier, Ludwig's going to turn 37 on Sunday. It's along the near board. Clock grinding down. Inside 3 minutes to play here in the second period. As Anaheim tries to poke Jeff back out to neutral ice.
See the puck pursuit of the Dallas Stars. They are relentless. They just don't give you any time whatsoever to handle it. That kind of forechecking pressure forces so many turnovers.
Juha Lind taking up Peter Labatelier along the near boards, and the Stars content to just throw it right back inside Anaheim territory. Boy, Yu-Ha Lin hasn't missed many checks in this game.
Certainly has not. He's run over Pete Patilli a couple of times on this shift. Also nailed David Carpo a couple of times as well. Lin, him with Solani's teammate, Team Finland. Earned himself a bronze medal at the Nagano Olympics.
There's Solani along the near boards, looking to chip up ice to Ruchin. He has to backtrack to a loose puck along the near boards. Look at one white sweater surrounded by 3 black sweaters as Marshall cuts out of the pack with it. Along the far board, Sandstrom with it. Bottles up his man there, sent into the far corner. Ruchin with it for Anaheim. Peek at the clock, minute 45 to go in the period. Tomas Sandstrom fakes the shot, moves to the outside. Solani driving the net. It caught a body and sails right through the Dallas crease. Out it comes. The Stars content to take the whistle and take off the heat. Mironov touches. They'll bring it back the other way.
Anaheim bench. The Ducks have got some life in this hockey game. All of a sudden, the pressure being turned up deep in Dallas territory. And you know, I've said all along that when Anaheim comes out and they start hitting, or when they get hit, it seems to wake them up. And Yu-Ha Lin may have lit a fire under the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. I think certainly he got the attention of a lot of the Duck players on that bench. All of a sudden, you get hit a couple of times or you dole out a couple of bumps. You just seem to get re-energized, and that's what it's all about for Pierre Pagé and his troops at this point in the game. Minute 29 remaining in the second period.
Bantam, his first in the NHL from Stevenson and Cullen at 16:03. That line on now for Anaheim. Mironov holds right point and sends right back in deep. Did you notice that Dmitry Mironov logged 11 minutes of ice time in the opening period?
Well, I think that was a reflection of all the power play time. Remember those 2 5-on-3s for the Ducks. Mironov, by far, the most gifted offensive defenseman Pierre Pagé has in his lineup.
Roman Turek intercepts, plays up the wing. Frank Bantam, line feed to the right wing boards. Taken away by Daryl Sador and banked back out to center ice. Mironov glides in over the line. Feeds Stevenson. Look at Roman Turek come out of that crease quickly to challenge.
A good stop by Turek, but I tell you what, this line with Cullen, Stevenson, and Bantam has been by far Anaheim's most effective line in this second period of play. Stevenson, not a real gifted player in terms of handling the puck, gets the puck in a great spot, drifts that shot and nails Turek right in the logo. But what a nice feed by Dmitry Mironov. Little drop hand pass into an open area. He allows Jeremy Stevenson to skate into it, wind up, hammer the shot. Just didn't get it in the spot he was hoping for.
23-year-old Jeremy Stevenson picking up an assist on the Bantam goal. For Stevenson, his 6th point this season. Face off to the left of Turek in a 4-1 hockey game. Stars on top. Travis Green jostling for position on this face-off against Jamie Langenbrunner.
Pierre Pagé continues to shuffle the lines a little bit. Green with Reichel and Drury on the wings. Looking for some kind of a spark to get this team back into this game.
Yu-Ha Lin on the draw against Travis Green. Behind the net it comes Reichel. Hooked out of the play and back the other way comes Dallas. Along the far board, Jerry Lettinen. Looking for support at the line. Chambers had to back off. But the Stars persist inside the zone. Looking, waiting. Chambers accepts, moves in on goal. He shoots and grazes the side of the net. 15 seconds left here in the second period as Craig Ludwig will track down the puck inside his own blue line. Offside whistle sounds with just under 10 seconds to play here in the second period.
He's normally a very gifted offensive player. He brings it right down into the crease area and just kind of chipped that shot just wide of the goal. Look at the traffic that Stelenkov has to deal with. But boy, looking at it from our overhead cameras, that shot does not miss the short side post by much.
Chambers, 6'2", 200-pound defenseman. Looks on. Time winding down on the second period. Volleyed back inside the Anaheim zone. Stalenkov will leave in behind, and that'll do it. The Dallas Stars tack on 2 more and lead the Ducks 4-1.
Anaheim gets a little bit of life on Frank Banham's goal. They finally figure out a way to solve Roman Turk. It looked to me like they really started to capture some of the momentum in the last 5 minutes of that second period. But the Dallas Stars remain in pretty firm control of this hockey game, and you can see it's a very dejected looking group of players making their way back to the Anaheim locker room.
Mighty Ducks Hockey on Fox Sports West 2 is brought to you by your Southern California Chevy dealers and by Original Coors, pure and simple, the last real beer. And by Budget Rent-A-Car. Buy a Jaguar, Mustang convertible, or other diversions from Budget. Get out of the ordinary. Brian Hayward is standing by with his special guest.
Or Stars for a look at what's ahead on Fox Sports News after the game. Let's go to the Fox Network Center. Time to give a young kid a couple of minutes in the NHL and see what he's made of. Don't think you can fault Mikhail Stalenkov. Was just left all alone on a couple of occasions with a pretty handy guy with a puck staring him right in the eyes. Joe Nieuwendyk is on fire.
Steve Ruchin will play the puck in deep. Along the backboards. Hard around intended for Gary Lettman along the near board. Set ahead by Sandstrom, and back out it comes. Trinket cuts back to touch, and we'll get a whistle. Do you remember your first NHL game?
I do remember my first NHL game. It was when I was with the Winnipeg Jets. We played the New York Rangers in Winnipeg. You never forget your first game.
I take it you started that one?
Started that one, got the win. I remember my second game, I played the Philadelphia Flyers, and a childhood idol of mine was finishing his career in Philadelphia, Darryl Sittler, and Sittler got a breakaway on me. And I don't know if I ever moved. I was so in awe of the fact that Darryl Sittler was bearing down on me. It made me actually look quite silly on the breakaway.
Askey looking on. Opposite way. Ludwig. Along the far board. Peter Labertillier tries to hem the Stars inside their own zone. Soleil cut back to touch. And the whistle sounds. We get an icing call.
You know, I'm sure one of the things that Pierre Pagé is looking for in this third period is he wants his team to start initiating the contact. When I sat down with Pierre Pagé this morning, he said that the game plan revolved around applying pressure to the Dallas Stars. And there have been spurts in this hockey game where Anaheim has done a pretty good job of that. But for the most part, it hasn't been consistent. And Pagé wants to see it every single shift on the ice.
At the line, wrist shot taken by David Karpa. Broken up and cleared back out quickly through neutral ice. On the wing, Travis Green looking for a pass that never materialized. And Pat Verbeek will send back it ahead. Out of the zone, Ruslan Soleil will deliver in diagonally. Too far ahead of everyone. An icing call occurring here.
It was a good idea by Ruslan Soleil. One of the things that a defenseman has to be conscious of is to get that puck in deep and give your team an opportunity to get in on the forecheck. David Karpa looked like he wanted a piece of the youngster Jamie Wright. Went up and challenged Wright. Wright just kind of backed off from him. And just moments earlier, Jamie Wright had run right over top of David Karpa, and that's what he took exception to. Talking about Soleil and the dump in, you know what goes in hand in hand with establishing a good forecheck is where you put the puck when you shoot it into the other team's end. Soleil was going for what the coaching staff calls a soft dump, where he flips the puck up in the air and it just kind of lands in the corner in a fashion that it doesn't bounce close to the goaltender so that he can make a play on it. The right play by Soleil, but he just failed to cross the center ice red line before he flipped it in. He's getting a little bit of tutoring here from Dmitry Mironov on what to do in exactly that situation.
Last penalty called in this game was back at the 16:47 mark of the opening period. It appeared as though at that time that Lance Roberts was going to have a very active night as Tom Askey makes his first NHL save on a shot taken by the veteran Greg Muni. Top of the circle it comes. Down low, right back upstairs. Askey watches the play develop out of the far corner. Batted back ahead. Matt Cullen will try to kick it free. Looking for support out of the pack it comes, and Frank Banham will quickly exchange. Stevenson winds. His shot grazes the side of the net. Along the backboard. Muni again. Will throw back out to center ice. Collected by Brent Severett. Stars with 26 shots on goal. Ducks with 14. 2 minutes gone here in the third period. Dallas leading 4-1. Ooh, Bannister with a dangerous pass across to Severin with Guy Carbonneau right in the neighborhood. And here come the Stars again. Wrist shot caught his own man. Severin out of the corner will try to work it free to Steve Ruchin. He does. That's batted down at center ice by Richard Matvichuk. Down low. Carbonneau scores!
Big smile from Guy Carbonneau. Boy, does he take advantage of a couple of glaring turnovers by the Mighty Ducks at their own blue line. Watch the pass here. It's a good one right onto the tape of Carbonneau, and he just slides that puck right along the ice. Looked like Tom Askey had everything shut off, but the goal stick was not on the ice between the pads. And Carbonneau doesn't get much on that shot, but the puck has enough steam to dribble in over the line. Let's check it out from another angle. Look where Askey is. He hits the deck early. He looks like he's in great position, but he kind of flicks the goal stick forward, and as he does, the puck slides right underneath.
So Guy Carbonneau, with only 1,156 more NHL games under his belt than Tom Askey, scores his second goal in as many nights. And the Stars lead 5-1. Solani. Trinket. Pass ahead. Sandstrom looks to Ruchin. He tries to thread the needle. It's cut off, and here comes Jamie Langenbrunner sending ahead for Ken Hitchcock's Dallas Stars. Return feed, Mironov. Works the puck inside the zone. Dan Kesmer tries to spin away from the onrushing Warren Reichel and delivers to Pat Verbeek. Jamie right along the backboard. In tandem with Joe Nieuwendyk. Looking out front for Pat Verbeek. Intercepted Anaheim 3-on-2 if they can hurry. Green leaves. Wrist shot. Drury. And it's batted down by the big glove hand of Roman Turek. Travis Green inside his own zone. Collects a pass, but an offside whistle at sound. Your score, Stars 5, Ducks 1.
I was named after the sound of a goal being scored. Kachuk. Last season, goalies heard my name 52 times. Could have been more, but I spent over 200 minutes in the penalty box. That's the way I play, hard and fast. Like NHL Breakaway 98, with rumble pack checking, high-powered goal scoring, and the best graphics on ice. NHL Breakaway 98. Looks like we got a new leader of the pack. Acclaim Sports. Sweat the details.
Mighty Ducks hockey here on Fox Sports West 2 is brought to you by your Toyota dealers of Southern California. See your Toyota dealer today and you'll be sold on Toyota. And by Rogaine. Rogaine extra strength for men because extra strength means extra hair. Carbonneau's 5th of the year from Tansel and Kesmer at 2:23. Sent off the near board. Greg Adams out of the corner, in behind. Looking for the give and go out front was Jason Botterill. Ted Drury steps up over the line. Works around his man Sador, and a block down low at the defense. Denies Drury.
Good outside speed shown by Ted Drury, but the passing lane at the very last second was just taken completely away from him.
Banham deals to Stevenson. 2-on-2 with Cullen in over the line. He looks to shoot. It's blocked by Greg Ludwig, and off the near boards, the Dallas Stars will muscle it free to center ice. Along the near board. Hard around, far side, Sean Chambers. Working it past Jason Marshall. Pavel Trinko will cut over to a loose puck. The result here is an icing call against the Dallas Stars with 15:04 to play.
And we've talked about the injury situation that the Dallas Stars currently are in. They have a number of players playing in tonight's game who have just come back from injuries. One of those players is Greg Adams. Missed 19 games after having arthroscopic surgery on December the 26th to repair torn cartilage in his left knee. So Adams is now back in the lineup. Matvichuk, excuse me, is already back in the lineup. And Sean Chambers playing in his first game back from an injury as well. So as bleak as the injury situation is here, it's even more remarkable given the fact that we've got a number of players who are just playing after being out for an extended period of time.
Adams didn't miss the injury bug either. He missed 19 games this year following knee surgery in December. Along the backboards. Looking out front, quick shot taken, blocked at the defense. Ruchin, near side. Solani with it. Looking out high, and Ruslan Saleh takes out his man. Adams, who scored his 300th NHL goal last night, wraps up his man, and we are going to get our first penalty since late in the opening period, holding the call.
Yeah, wraps up his man is a pretty apt description of it. Wrap the arms right around David Karpa. Not a smart penalty to take for Greg Adams. And I don't think there's much question about this one. Watch Karpa. Rolling puck. Adams wants to jump on him, but look at that. As soon as he takes the right hand off the stick and grabs David Karpa, you know that Lance Roberts is going to make the call. These types of penalties drive coaches absolutely crazy. They happen almost 200 feet away from their own goal. And for what? You can kind of read that expression on Ken Hitchcock's face.
Hitchcock dealing with a bevy of injuries. But what a season it has been here in Dallas. Stars atop the Western Conference standings. Presently with a mark of 38 wins, 15 losses, and 10 ties. They actually have more wins on the road this year than they do at home. 20 have come away from Reunion Arena.
That's a remarkable team, and the organization here has done a remarkable job of building a tremendous amount of depth in the organization. The minor league team is a very good minor league team, and you can see tonight they call people up from minors. And there hasn't been an awful lot of mistakes made by the Dallas Stars. Anaheim has had to work for all of their opportunities. Very little turnovers. It was interesting where Dallas Shore said that the entire organization plays the same system, whether they're here or whether they're down in Michigan. And you can see that. The systems are pretty well ingrained in this team.
Brought it over the line. Ruchin steps around his man. What a recovery defensively, though, by Richard Matvichuk. Green. Game a catch to Mironov. He winds. He shoots. Deflects into the corner. Solani taking cleanly off the play as Green covers left point. In the high slot, Mironov down low looking for Peter Lebetillier. He tried to kick it ahead. To the line, Green. He fakes. Exchanges with Solani. Solani waiting. Dealing to Mironov. He winds. His shot deflects off the body of Guy Carbonneau up into the crowd.
Richard Matvichuk has had a nice night for the Dallas Stars so far, and just moments ago it looked like Steve Ruchin had him beat to the outside, but watch the sweep check by Matvichuk. You see Ruchin beats him for a second. Looks like he's got a laneway to the front of the goal. And a nice recovery by Matvichuk.
Fourth year, all in a Stars uniform for Matvichuk. 50 seconds remain on this power play advantage as Adams continues to sit for holding. Face off to the left of Roman Turek. Anaheim still looking for that first shot on goal in this power play advantage. Soleil, side of the net. Sandstrom leaves on the doorstep. And there's Roman Turek again to deny Tomas Sandstrom.
And Tomas Sandstrom just shot this puck right into the glove of Turek. He had half a net to shoot at. Turek was on the left side of the goal crease. The puck came across to the right. You talk about things going bad. Look at that. Sandstrom had the whole goal. Overhead. See it from another angle. Sandstrom in front of the net. Got plenty of room, and he shovels it right into the glove. Look at the reaction by Tomas Sandstrom. Look at the room that Sandstrom had. There was nowhere to put that puck except in the net or in the goalie's glove. Unfortunately, it went in the glove.
Reminiscent of an opportunity that Sandstrom had a couple of nights ago against Felix Potvin. Missed everything. Is at the top of the circle. It comes, and Marshall's shot deflects into the corner. 25 seconds to go on the man advantage. Soleil to Bantam. He waits. Still looking for an opening. Finds Jason Marshall. 15 seconds left on the power play as Bantam's one-timer sails wide.
Great pass again by Matt Cullen.
Shot blocked by Ludwig. Batted out to center ice. Bantam along the near board. Cullen, far side. Can't handle that pass from Jason Marshall. The penalty is over to Adams. The teams are back at full strength. Along the near board. Ruslan Soleil ties up Yuri Letnin. And the Ducks are regrouped from just outside their own blue line. Joe Nieuwendyke's right side feed. Taken away by Brent Sebrick. Paired with Drew Bannister. He'll jam on the brakes. Passing behind. Teemu Selanne. As it sent up the far boards. Anaheim will regroup inside their own zone.
You can see the Stars very passive now on the forecheck. They've kind of dropped back into a neutral zone trap, just trying to clog up the middle of the ice surface and prevent the Ducks from getting any kind of opportunities on the rush. This is a well-disciplined team Anaheim's playing.
Breakaway showtime. He scores! Log on to the coolest game on earth. NHL.com puts you center ice with cool features, the latest stats, and hottest video clips. Listen to live radio broadcasts of virtually every NHL game free.
It doesn't get any better than this, baby.
Get cool gear from the NHL store, chat with NHL superstars, or jump to your favorite team's website. 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world. Skate the web and score with NHL.com.
Budget. Get out of the ordinary. Rent a convertible for just $45 a day at Budget.
Well, Matt Cullen continues to impress with his passing ability. He'll spot Frank Bantam. Look at that pass. Cross ice through the four-man box, and Frank Bantam just drifts it about a foot wide on the short side. Almost gets his second goal of the night. But what a play by Matt Cullen.
Cullen showing tremendous instincts. Being recalled from Cincinnati. Centering pass, side of the net it comes. Pronger in the near corner. Rides his man hard there, and there comes Steve Ruchin to the rescue. Selanne with him. Along the near board, shakes off one check. Cannot avoid another from Jamie Langenbrunner, and along the near board, Severin will send ahead. Stars counter punching to the blue line. Duras leads. Langenbrunner back into traffic along the left wing boards as a centering pass out front. Looking for Duras on the tip-in, just missed. Here comes Ruchin at the blue line of Dallas. Has to regroup at center ice. Teemu Selanne too well covered. 4 black jerseys around him. Nowhere to go, and Selanne along the near boards. Again, all tied up as the Stars will send ahead.
And Dallas just starting to work on that clock. The puck goes in deep.
Drew Bannister just got his teeth rattled in the corner. A big check from behind by Chris Tansel as the puck is kicked outside the playing surface, and will get a stoppage in play. Tempers flaring. Sean Pronger in the thick of things. Jason Botterill in his first NHL game.
And you get the feeling that right now Brent Severin wants a piece of anybody that's on the ice wearing a green jersey, but I don't think he's going to get too many takers.
Well, remember back in the first period, I told you last year, Ken Hitchcock referred to himself as a salesman. With all these key people out, what kind of sales pitch is he making to his players these days?
I think we have to sell defense. I think that it's the one thing that you can control in your group. If your commitment is in that area, there's going to be times through this next period of time that we're not going to score enough goals to win, but we just don't want to give up quality chances that are unnecessary and by forcing the issue, either with or without the puck. I think if our focus is on defense, then our foundation is going to be sound. We're going to have people coming back into our group, and they're going to be able to fit in a lot smoother than if we're all over the map.
Slap shot taken, Drury left in the far corner. Right through the crease it comes, and Drury is swing and a miss at the base of the circle.
Well, I would say that the Stars are not all over the map in terms of their defensive zone coverage. Kirk's made some big stops, no question about that, but for the most part, very few mistakes down low in the defensive zone.
Drury spins away from Sidor. Reichel along the backboards with it. In tandem with Drury, he'll weigh his options. Centering feed. Green, good recovery in the high slot. Wrist shot snared by Roman Turek as Travis Green was lined up from behind by Craig Muni.
Well, even the depth players that the Stars have in their lineup, especially on the defensive side of things, have got NHL experience. I mentioned that Dan Kesmir is up from Michigan, the International Hockey League. Well, he's played in the league for a lot of years. Craig Muni, who probably qualifies as the #7 defenseman here in Dallas, is also a guy who's been around the block. Muni won 3 cups with the Edmonton Oilers in '87, '88, and 1990. Signed as a free agent this past offseason in early October, just prior to the start of the regular season. And he can play. He doesn't make mistakes with the puck. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He will take the body on you, however. Muni's done a nice job tonight.
It's a +2 performer last night in the Stars' 5-4 loss in Phoenix. Out of the corner it comes Cullen. Leaves at the base of the circle. Stevenson trying to get off a wrist shot. Deflects into the far corner. 9:35 to play in this hockey game. Stars leading 5-1. Hat trick for Nieuwendyk. Langenbrunner and Carbonneau also getting goals for Dallas. The lone Mighty Ducks marker is first in the NHL for Frank Banham. Trinka leaves far corner. Jason Marshall. Banham up the wing. Dallas intercepts. Anaheim back home Sunday night, 5 o'clock start against the Colorado Avalanche. As Tomas Sandstrom will step up over the blue line and gets rattled along the far board. Clean bump there by Richard Matvichuk. Ruchin with it. Carbonneau lines him up. Solani in the far corner. Out of traffic it comes. Wrist shot taken, Severin. Bouncing puck glides back to center ice.
You know, I'm watching the Mighty Ducks, and it reminds me of a conversation I had with Stars general manager Bob Gainey earlier this season. And he said, how can you tell what players and what lines are great offensive lines in the NHL? He goes, when you get players who consistently can bring the puck, a loose puck out of the corner in the offensive zone, and somehow bring it to the center of the ice and get a scoring chance, well, it means you've got yourself a pretty good offensive line. That last shift for the Ducks, they had clear possession of the puck for an extended period in Dallas territory, but they couldn't bring it out of the corner into the middle of the ice and get a good scoring chance. That's just good, solid defense and good work in the defensive zone by the Stars.
Along the near boards, Chambers tries to send ahead. Peter Lepetelier in the vicinity. Botterill far side. Lined up from behind by Ruslan Soleil, and back out to center ice it comes. Roman Turek. During in his 17th game this season. Came in with a 9-5-1 mark. Has been spotted a 4-goal cushion as an offside whistle sounds with 7.5 minutes to play. Langenbrunner and Lepetelier.
It's time to discover cars and trucks you may not have thought about before. The 1998 Oldsmobiles at Discover Days. Test drive the Intrigue, the sports sedan car and driver magazine chose over Camry and Taurus. Experience this blend of sophistication and sportiness yourself with a limited time offer of 1.9 financing. There's never been a better time to come in for a test drive. Discover Days with incredible 1.9 financing on all Oldsmobiles. At your local Oldsmobile dealer now.
The ultimate Derek Jeter dream date. First you call a girl. Tell her that you're preparing a perfect candlelight dinner for her. I throw on some R&B. I can't cook, so I'll order some food. Tell them to give me the works and put it on my Discover card. Splash on a little cologne. Throw on your apron. The Discover card cashback bonus is the icing on the cake. What else would she want to do but to watch highlights of us winning the World Series in 1996?
It pays to Discover. To apply, call 1-800-IT-PAYS-2. Accepted where you see the Novus sign.
You can get caught up on the day in sports by checking in with Fox Sports News. Coming up, day 2 of the NCAA tournament, including UCLA and Miami highlights. The Warriors and the Suns as well. It's all coming up following the game.
Well, you can tell that Pierre Page is not having much fun right now. He's watching his team getting soundly beaten by the Dallas Stars. I spoke to Pierre this morning. He was so full of hope looking forward to this game. Really thought the players were ready. They had a high energy practice today. They were able to skate on the road and have a morning skate around much earlier because the Dallas Stars played last night in Phoenix. They didn't have anyone going this morning. So instead of being on the ice at 11 o'clock, the Ducks actually got onto the ice around 10 this morning. A good, brisk practice, lots of power play time. But all the good work that was spent on the ice this morning didn't translate into great play in the game tonight.
They intercepted by Mironov. Deflected pass, Ruslan Saleh. Here is also marveling this morning at Michael Jordan, who was in town here last night. Bulls played the Mavericks, the most attended game ever in this building. I'll tell you, for those people that left that one early, were they in for a surprise when they turned on the radio in the car?
What was the deal? The Mavericks were down by 10 points with a minute and a half to go in the game. Came back to force overtime and won it in the extra session.
Incredible. Went on a 17-2 run in the fourth quarter. As an offside whistle sounds, and we'll get a stoppage in play.
I really like the game that Frank Banham has thrown out onto the ice tonight. I think he's been perhaps Anaheim's best player. Matt Cullen certainly has had a strong game. So has Jeremy Stevenson. By far the most effective line for the Ducks has been Banham, Cullen, and Stevenson. But you almost got the sense that when Banham scored that goal, that all of a sudden he started getting a little bit more creative with the puck when he did handle it. This kid was a huge scorer in junior. He's been set back by some pretty severe injuries the last couple of years. But when I spoke to Jack Burr about Frank Banham, the one thing he said was he has made steady progress from the start of this season right up to the point of his recall. He just keeps getting better.
Signed as a free agent on January 22nd of '96. Langenbrunner's shot taken away by Marshall. Quickly ahead to Reichel. Solani on the wing. Off the far boards. He'll play in the near corner. Big bump from behind by Reichel. Loose puck Solani looking to get off a shot. He was neutralized cleanly by Richard Matvichuk.
Yeah, Matvichuk did a nice job of just tying up the stick of Solani. You know, so often you hear the expression, take the body on the player. Well, when a guy like Solani gets the puck into scoring territory in front of the net, defensemen don't have to be concerned with his body. They have to work on his hands, deny him the shot.
At the point, slap shot Marshall. Askey battles that puck into the far corner. Pass out of the reach of Sean Bronger. Taken away by Chambers. 5:05 to play here in the third period. Stars leading 5-1. Sent in deep by Dallas. Travis Green lining up Pete Carbono out of the corner. Bronger with it will send ahead. Bannister's long shot. Steered aside by Turk. The hat trick goal by Nieuwendyk was the first by an opponent on the road since October of '96. We'll have more.
So you bring home a cool new Chevy S10 and your friends all say, exceptional, man. Then you tell them they can get $1,500 cash back on a Chevy S10. Or they can lease an S10 for just $169 a month with zero down. $1,500 cash back or $169 a month on a truck this great. So then they say, hey, what a genius. And you say, well, I did get a Chevy S10.
Get it. $1,500 cash back or $169 a month at your Southern California Chevy dealer.
When the smoke clears, see who's standing. Fight night at the Forum, the ultimate test of courage and power. Fight night at the Forum, Monday at 8 on Fox Sports West 2.
Fox Sports News, prime time. Once among baseball's biggest stars, now do they still have what it takes? Tonight, look who's making a spring training comeback. Only on Fox Sports News, prime time. We are there.
Time to take a look at our Discover card. Payback, playback, play of the hockey game. It's a fortunate bounce for the Dallas Stars. Leads to their fourth goal of the hockey game. It's Joe Nieuwendyk's hat-trick goal. Bounces right over the stick of Ted Drury, right onto the tape of Nieuwendyk. And he just zips it past Mikhail Shalenkov. What a night this has been for Joe Nieuwendyk.
I was pointing out just prior to the break, Brian Savage had the last hat-trick on the road against the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. In Montreal, a 6-6 tie. Back on the 7th of October as Tom Askey gets barreled over inside his own crease. Along the backboards, David Karpa trying to knot up his man. Ruchin digging. Played free to Solani. Solani came into this game with points in each of his last 8 road games. He has been held off the score sheet thus far. 4:10 remains in this one. And he gets drilled along the backboard. Who will step up?
Oh my, what an elbow by Craig Ludwig to the jaw of Steve Ruchin. Or excuse me, to Teemu Solani, and Solani is down. Ludwig pleading his case. He's saying Solani dropped his head at the last second. I don't know about that. It looked to me like the elbow by Ludwig was carried high.
Right now, Jason Marshall trying to break free from the grasp of the linesman. Ludwig and Marshall jawing at one another as the penalty box doors swing open.
While all this is going on, Teemu Solani remains down on the ice. He's being attended to. I see some movement down there. Let's take a look at it. Solani gets by Craig Ludwig wide. Ludwig tries to grab him. You see Solani loses balance. Watch the right elbow of Ludwig. And you can't tell me that that was not intentional. Take a look from another angle, and I think you'll see it. Right now, David Karpa's over at the box. Here's another look at it. The elbow thrown by Ludwig. My goodness, to the jaw of Solani. And Karpa almost went into the box after Ludwig.
Well, you'll remember when Paul Correa was tagged by Gary Suter. Perhaps one of the most disturbing outcomes from that was that no one really stepped up and delivered a blow to Suter. David Karpa came all the way from across the ice, making a beeline. And Craig Ludwig is still up. He can't believe it inside the penalty box in front of us. He is jawing at our referee, Lance Roberts, as Karpa is escorted off the ice.
Well, I'll tell you how you stop all of this. You don't bother with Craig Ludwig. You go after Joe Nieuwendyk, and you go after Jamie Langenbrunner, and you go after the skilled players on the Dallas Stars. That's what you got to do. Here's Ludwig. Here's another look at the elbow. But he gets a good piece of Teemu Selanne. Oh. It's an intentional elbow by Ludwig. Selanne still down in the corner. Craig Smith wants to make sure that Solanne's got all of his wits and faculties about him before he makes it back to the bench.
Athletic trainer Craig Smith attending to Teemu Selanne, who has just now struggled to get back up on his skates.
Take one more look at it. Here's the hit by Ludwig. Not much doubt about that one, folks. Solanne's heading to the Mighty Duck locker room. I'll be surprised if Ludwig doesn't get a 5-minute major for elbowing. Pierre Pagé, the top of his head's about to blow off.
You know, Ken Hitchcock had an interesting observation prior to the game. He says, you know, over the course of the last 6 games, he goes, I know the Ducks have dropped 6 in a row, but he says, I've been watching the tape. He said, this has been a very unlucky hockey club. He goes, I thought they played extremely well against the Detroit Red Wings. Thought they played very well. Oh, look out here. Ludwig's got to go between the benches. Oh, and look at this. Peter Leboutillier is trying to climb over top of the board.
They might want to send Ludwig off the ice through the Zamboni entrance. You know, here's the thing. With Ludwig getting tossed out of the game, there's no opportunity to exact any amount of justice against Ludwig. He's kicked out of the game. He will not return. Settle into your seats at home, folks, because I think this last 4 minutes and 8 seconds may take a while.
But to finish the thought, he was saying he also checked out the game against the Kings, and he said what impressed him about that game is he saw a difference in the Ducks. They started to stick up for one another, and here tonight, no sooner had Teemu Selanne been decked by a vicious elbow by Craig Ludwig. Marshall stepped in, Sandstrom stepped in, Karpa came from across the ice, and now Peter Leboutillier wanted to hop over the boards and take on the veteran Craig Ludwig.
Well, I can tell you right now, the referees are probably going to get Leboutillier out of the game. And quite frankly, if they were smart, they might get Jeremy Stevenson out of the game, too.
You know what's hard to believe out of all this? Beyond the obvious. We've lost Karpa already. They've escorted Marshall to the Ducks locker room. Selanne has gone to the locker room. Leboutillier has gone to the locker room, and the only guy that's left the surface for the Dallas Stars is the one guy that doled out the punishment. Where's the justice?
Well, Anaheim's probably going to spend the rest of this game shorthanded, too. It'll be interesting to hear the call from Lance Roberts here to see if he gives anything to Leboutillier and Marshall other than game misconduct penalties.
Well, if you are just joining us, Mighty Ducks of Anaheim trail the Dallas Stars by a score of 5-1. Hat trick on the night for Joe Nieuwendyk. Langen, Bruner, and Carmino, the other goals for Dallas. Banham, the lone marker for Anaheim. But with 4:08 left in regulation, Teemu Selanne had stepped around Craig Ludwig as he tried to make his way along the backboards. Ludwig got back into position and delivered a big elbow to the side of Teemu Selanne's head. He crumpled to the ice. And every other Duck player on the ice came to his aid immediately. And since that time, the fans have not sat back down. It's a sellout crowd here at Reunion Arena. And Steve Ruchin will argue his case for Anaheim. Nieuwendyk for Dallas. Lance Roberts, though, the man with the orange stripes on the arm, has the final say-so.
Roberts explaining the situation to both captains. Ruchin, the assistant. Nieuwendyk, captain of the Dallas Stars. Well, it's been a while since I've seen somebody try to get into a penalty box the way David Carpa tried to get after Craig Ludwig. And if you look at the glass that's in front of the penalty box area on the ice surface, well, that's about the only thing that could have kept David Carpa out of that box. We see the glass. You see the glass here in the Reunion Arena. It extends all the way up, full 10 to 12 feet above the ice surface. In the middle of your screen is the penalty box area. That's what David Carpa was banging against, trying to get through to Craig Ludwig. Glass won that encounter. Let's take one last look at the elbow thrown by Ludwig on Solani. Very reminiscent of the elbow thrown by Matthew Schneider on Paul Kariya a few years back. Put Kariya out of the lineup. Look at the white jerseys. Ruchin's in there. Sandstrom's in there. Jason Marshall came all the way down from the right point. Ruchin forgot to take his glove off.
We are still awaiting the official word as to how Lance Roberts is going to sort this out. Indications on the scoreboard show 5 minutes to Ludwig, 2 minutes to Jason Marshall. Keep in mind there's only 4:08 left to play in this game.
It's interesting to see who Ken Hitchcock throws over the boards under these circumstances and who Pierre Pagé responds with. Jeremy Stevenson is on the ice for the Mighty Ducks. He squares off against the youngster Jason Botterill.
In the corner. Oh! Stevenson with an elbow up as he went in deep. Slap shot taken. Mironov, and the Ducks will leave far corner. Along the near board. Ruslan Soleil will send ahead. Stevenson, as a player takes a dive in the corner. Matt Tkachuk and Stevenson just look at one another as the puck is sent back inside Anaheim territory.
Stevenson was trying to get Matt Tkachuk involved. He wants a piece of somebody on that ice surface, but Dallas players, for the most part, are just avoiding him.
Barring another penalty, in a minute 10 seconds, the Ducks would have an abbreviated power play. Soleil back to touch. We get a whistle. Bring it back the other way.
Well, Jeremy Stevenson spent the majority of the last shift looking for any takers in an altercation, but nobody was buying into it. Let's check it out right here. There's Matt Tkachuk. Matt Tkachuk takes a dive trying to draw the penalty. Stevenson's talking to him. No way Matt Tkachuk is going to drop the gloves. And you know, if you're one of the tough guys in the Anaheim lineup, you just watched your star player get a vicious elbow, and you're stuck on the bench. There's nothing that you can do about it. You know, you jump over the boards, you face a pretty severe suspension and fine by the National Hockey League. David Carpa was issued a double game misconduct, and I would imagine that there will be perhaps some kind of suspension situation that Carpa may be looking at.
We've been just handed a note sorting this out. Marshall 2 minutes for roughing and a 10-minute misconduct penalty. Oh, the gloves are on, and the fight is on. Two separate bouts, and Daryl Sador is taking punishment. Exactly what you spoke of. Now Sador jumps his man from behind. Went into a turtle. Severin clearly had broken away, and then Sador jumped him. But nothing's going to save Sador now. He is going to be severely mismatched. And Brent Severin, with a big right hand, drives him down to the ice. And the referee, Lance Roberts, steps in, and Sador.
Well, you knew this was coming. There was no doubt in my mind as soon as they dropped the puck that the big boys for the Mighty Ducks were going to go after the Dallas Stars. You cannot let your star player like Solani get abused the way he was abused by Craig Ludwig and not respond. Not pretty. Daryl Sador accepted a beating from Brent Severin.
And Severin down the runway to the Mighty Ducks locker room.
You can see Sador got hit with a bomb of a right hand by Brent Severin.
Thing is, Sador had every chance to walk away from this one.
Well, I'll tell you, Sador saw Severin come over, and it looked like 2 against 1 on the boards when he jumped onto the back of Brent Severin. I'm sure I can guarantee you this. He didn't want to get into it with Severin. He didn't have much choice.
So this comes just a minute later at 3:08. And again, Lance Roberts has to sort things out. Now, we've been handed a note. I want to get you caught up. Jason Marshall, 2 minutes for roughing and a 10-minute misconduct penalty. They're now saying that David Carper's been given a single game misconduct. A game misconduct also doled out to Peter Leboutillier. Here's how it gets started.
Warren Reichel, as soon as that puck is dropped, off go the gloves, and he jumps on top of Craig Muni and starts throwing them. And then away from Reichel and Muni, everybody else gets involved. And there's Sador on the back of Brent Severin. You see Sador came over because it was 2 against 1 against the boards. Sador doesn't want to have to go with Severin, but he doesn't have any choice. Drew Bannister in your background is unloading a couple of licks as well. Greg Adams, who was tied up with Drew Bannister. Sador's not a fighter. And you're right. Severely mismatched against Brent Severin.
So Daryl Sador.
Well, if you ever had any doubts whether or not the fights in hockey were real, check out Daryl Sador.
Sort of leaves you, though, with a very sour feeling in your stomach, though, doesn't it? These last minutes or so here in this game?
Well, it does. In a way it does, but in another way, I'll tell you, when given the circumstances, with Paul Kariya being out with a concussion, when you see Teemu Selanne go down the boards and that elbow delivered to the jaw by Craig Ludwig, you know that this was going to happen. We've been talking all season long about the fact that Anaheim needs to protect their star players better. Well, they couldn't protect Teemu Selanne. Here's how Daryl Sador gets hurt, by the way. It's his face that goes into the ice right about there. Severin lands a bomb to the back of his head. Boy, oh boy. But what I was getting back to, Chris, is there has to be ramifications when a Teemu Selanne or a Paul Kariya get knocked out of a game. I think maybe the part that hurt the Mighty Duck organization more than anything when Paul Kariya was cross-checked by Gary Suter was the fact that immediately afterwards, no one went after Gary Suter. That was talked about for weeks and weeks. The players read this, and certainly the more physical players in the Anaheim lineup all felt in that situation that they failed the team and they failed Paul Kariya, and they weren't going to let it happen again. So is it pretty? No, it's not pretty. Is it required? Maybe not to this extreme, but under the circumstances, some kind of reaction was definitely required. I know that sounds barbaric, but that's the way it is.
Also raises the question, how better can the game be policed?
Well, I would say that, I don't know, what's more vicious? The elbow to the jaw of a player, the cross-check to the jaw of a player like we saw from Gary Suter to Paul Kariya, or a fight where somebody gets pummeled? That's a topic we can debate for a long, long time, I would imagine.
But if the punishment was more commensurate to the crime, I have a feeling things would change dramatically.
You know, it's funny. You go back to the Kariya suspension, the situation where Gary Suter was suspended for 4 games, and a lot of people say, how could Gary Suter only be suspended 4 games from knocking perhaps the league's best player out for, it looks like now, the remainder of the season? The way it's set up, the NHL has to rule on any tape that is submitted for review within 48 hours. And 48 hours after the Kariya hit, it wasn't really known at that point just how severe the injury to Paul Kariya was. And that's, in my mind, why Suter only got 4 games. I would like to see that changed. I don't think you can ever get to the point where if a guy is knocked out for an extended period that the length of the suspension has to be the same amount of time that the player is out because of the injury, because, you know, some people are more susceptible to concussions and things like that, or they've had knee injuries before when they do get kneed. But I would like to wait until they really get a better understanding of how severe the injury is before they dole out the suspension. Don't be surprised if that doesn't get changed in the upcoming offseason.
Because right now the suspensions seem to be so arbitrary. I mean,
remember, it's one guy. It's all up to Brian Burke, the rule on the punishment. And there has been some talk about maybe having some kind of a committee that would review plays like that and decide on the term of the suspension.
Okay, here we go. Reichel, 2 minutes for instigation, 5 minutes for fighting, 10-minute misconduct penalty. Severin, 2 minutes instigation, 5 minutes for fighting and a game misconduct. Drew Bannister, a 4-minute double minor for roughing. And Sean Pronger, 2 minutes for roughing. For the Dallas Stars, Guy Carbonneau, 2 minutes for roughing. Greg Adams, a 4-minute double minor for roughing. Sidor, 5 minutes for fighting. And Craig Muni, 5 minutes for fighting. 3-on-3 hockey. Ruchin, Soleil, Mironov.
It's actually going to be 4-on-3. Dallas a little bit late getting that 4th player onto the ice. Maybe didn't want to come over the boards. I don't know.
We are set for the face-off. Botterill on the draw against Steve Ruchin. Off the gloves come. Botterill wants Ruchin. And again they pair off. Ducks are down a man. Ruchin and Botterill at one end. Mironov and Verbeek at the other. At center ice.
Bruce Latz-Delay also going at it. Pat Verbeek's all tied up. Now this is interesting. Verbeek is with Mironov throw blows wearing a visor like Pat Verbeek is. Away from the play, Grant Marshall is just working Ruslan Saleh. Saleh ended up on top, but Grant Marshall's a tough guy. He landed a couple of bombs against Ruslan Saleh. It's fight night at Reunion Arena in Dallas. And Chris, I'm looking over at the Mighty Duck bench. They've only got 4 players. 4 players and the backup goaltender, Mikhail Stelenkov, not in the box.
Since the Solani incident, just a minute 2 seconds has ticked off the clock. But you just had a feeling, the way Botterill was lining up across from Ruchin, that he had no intention whatsoever. He could care less when that puck was dropped. And as soon as it was, off came the gloves.
Botterill was lined up a full 2 feet across the line. Look at Botterill. Well, he drops the puck with Ruchin, breaks his stick over Ruchin, and just grabs him and starts the altercation. See, Sean Chambers, he can't get involved, or he's third man in, facing a suspension for Dallas. He's just standing around. Lance Roberts tells him he better get over to the bench.
So there you see the remaining players on the Duck bench. Tomas Sandstrom. To his left is Matt Cullen. To his left is Jeremy Stevenson. To his left is Pavel Trinka.
I've never seen this before in my life, where there's only 4 players and the backup goaltender on the bench. Now, if they drop the puck, here's my question. If they drop the puck and the same thing happens, what happens? You know, if you run out of players, what do you do?
Well, you said it. These final 4 minutes may take a while.
These are the moments in time when I'm glad I'm not a player anymore. Mikhail Stelenkov may get a shift up on the wing here in a few moments.
Hate to say this, Brian, but I don't know of any players on the ice right now that should be too proud to be a player. It's a pretty sad statement.
I don't know, I kind of like it.
Gloves and sticks, helmets, all between the blue lines. Again, I think it all comes back to crime and punishment. If people would know the consequences in advance, this thing could have been nipped in the bud a long time ago.
You're saying that if people knew that Craig Ludwig was going to face severe punishment by the league?
Oh, absolutely. And $1,000? $1,000 fine in today's marketplace? What is that? Geez, on a long road trip, that's just about meal money.
Well, I don't think there's any question. You bring up a good point. But I just don't know, given the circumstances again. With Teemu Solani having to leave the game because of the elbow by Ludwig, that this wasn't inevitable.
Well, I got to take issue with you here, Brian, because if it was so inevitable, how many Donniebrooks have you seen over the course of the last couple of NHL seasons like this one?
No, I'm saying after the hit was delivered by Ludwig on Solani, the Ducks have to respond.
Oh, absolutely.
In this fashion.
And I agree
that
with you
was inevitable.
100%.
The response is what I'm talking about, was inevitable.
So now Sandstrom, Stevenson, and Trinka step on. Langenbrunner, Duras, and Kesmeron. Sent into the corner. Along the backboard. Out it comes Duras. Behind the play, the gloves are off. Langenbrunner and Stevenson.
And you almost predicted this, where Jeremy Stevenson was going to go after one of the Dallas players. And I'm talking about one of their better players in Langenbrunner. If Lance Roberts had been smart, he would have got all the tough guys off the ice for the Ducks at once. And now there are 3 players left for Anaheim.
And there's still 2:55 to play.
2:55 left. They will finish the game. I've never seen this in my life. 3 players and the backup goaltender. Here it is. Stevenson wants a piece of Langenbrunner. He doesn't go anywhere near Dan Kesmer. He wants one of their talented players. Full house in the penalty box here at Reunion Arena.
Can't even see the penalty box from here. Fans have not sat down. The Solani incident took place with 4:08 left. There's now 2:55 remaining. Trinka, Cullen, and Sandstrom. Final 3 positional players left on the bench for Anaheim. The draw, Dallas controlling. Stolen away. Cullen moves in, shoots and scores. Matt Cullen makes it a 5-2 game.
Oh, what a nice play by Matt Cullen. Strips the puck away from Dan Kesmer and just outweights Roman Turk. Turk can't be that involved in the game. He hasn't seen a shot for about an hour. Here's Kesmer. He's going to cough it up right there. Fans on it. Cullen, the opportunist, walks around the goaltender, slides it into the short side. What a heads-up play by Matt Cullen. This kid's going to be a good player. Shows a lot of patience moving in on the goaltender.
So Cullen with a goal and an assist in the game. 2:35 to play as it's brought in over the line. He leaves for Sandstrom. He looks to shoot upstairs. And a bouncing puck comes down in the Dallas crease, and we'll get a whistle.
And normally Thomas Sandstrom would be giving the old face wash or rubbing someone the wrong way in that situation. He can't afford to do that right now. See the duck bench? You see the duck bench?
So Cullen scores unassisted at 17 minutes, 13 seconds.
You see the duck bench.
Lettinen out of the corner. Out to center ice it comes. Quickly brought in over the line. Nieuwendyk tries to move it on goal. And look out. Tom Askey has just thrown the puck over top of the glass and into the crowd.
You know what? Lance Roberts isn't going to call it. Roberts doesn't want to make the call because by the rules, one of the Mighty Duck players on the ice would have to go serve the minor penalty. Askey shoots the puck over the glass. Watch this. Doesn't touch anybody on the way outside of the playing surface. Should be a minor penalty for delay of game, and Lance Roberts won't call it.
Trinka along the backboard, pounded by Tansel. Here comes Cullen again with speed. He'll drive to the outside, fakes a shot along the near boards and tries to leave it deep. Off the backboard, Duras far side with 2 minutes left in the game. Stars leading 5-2. In behind Sandstrom, avoids a bump from Tansel. Open on the wing, Cullen. You are looking at the last 3 positional players left on the Ducks bench. Trinka back. Slap shot. Snared by Askey. He leaves along the backboards. And Sandstrom has Cullen again on the wing.
And only one defenseman for the Ducks. Pavel Trinka. So Sandstrom and Cullen have to go up and play forward.
One-time shot. Sandstrom bidding for one there. And there is Roman Turek to make the save. Pass ahead. Breakaway. Nieuwendyke's got 3 already. He shoots. He scores!
Four-goal night for Joe Nieuwendyke. Fatigue obviously a factor. Those players out on the ice for a minute and a half consecutively just run out of gas, run out of legs. The headman pass. Nieuwendyke jumps into the hole all the way from center ice on Tom Askey. Look at the space between the legs of the Anaheim goaltender, and Joe Nieuwendyke zips it right between the pads. You know, the one thing that Tom Askey will learn playing at the National League level is that the pure goal scorers at this level shoot between a goaltender's legs way more often than they do at the minor league level. And that's the biggest adjustment a young goaltender has to make as he tries to graduate from the minor leagues to the National League level. In many cases, especially on breakaways, in the NHL, option 1 for a lot of players is between the pads. That's not the case at the minor league level.
Nieuwendyke with 2 in the first. The hat-trick goal in the second. His 4th of the game here against Tom Askey with a minute remaining in the game.
Some of the penalties expired to the Mighty Ducks, so they got some people out of the box. So they now have a few more fresh bodies that they can put on the ice surface.
Off the near board. Travis Green. At the blue line, Drury steps up and shoots a save. They score! Sean Pronger hopped on the rebound. And the Ducks, once again, with a goal late here in the 3rd period.
Sean Pronger does a nice job here of driving through to the front of the net. A good snapshot by Ted Drury. The rebound left lying around the front of the goal by Roman Turek. It's Jere Lehtinen.
Please tell Cindy to get him.
Sean Pronger outraces to the front of the goal crease, and he bats home the rebound. Nice play by Drury to get the good low shot on the goal. Better job by Pronger to battle his way to the front of the net.
Half a minute to play. Stars leading 6-3. No status report yet on Teemu Selanne. Off the backboard. Pronger from Drury and Green. Around to Jet. Askey makes the save. 5 seconds left in the game. Long shot blocked at the defense. And the Stars have taken the season series 3 games to 1.
Well, it was a long night here in Dallas. I don't think there's any question that our Gatorade player of the game is Joe Nieuwendyke. His 4th career 4-goal game. Nieuwendyke was an offensive force in this one. Anaheim just did not have any answer for him whatsoever.
The 4:02 mark, Craig Ludwig doled out a vicious elbow to the side of the head of Teemu Selanne. No further status report on Solanne's condition. He did leave the ice with the aid of trainer Greg Smith. So for Brian Hayward, this is Chris Madsen, your final score. You've been watching Mighty Ducks coverage on Fox Sports West 2.